Hello, welcome to the first episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today is Beef21. Say hi.
Hello.
So for those who are unaware, Beef is a well-known metal grinder and Kaizo maker and player, well known in the community. I'm super excited to have him on the first episode today. So I'm going to ask him a series of questions, and I'll give my inputs as well. And yeah, so Beef, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. I guess there's not much to say other than I've been working on Kaizo and a little bit of my channel. But yeah, not
Nice.
much.
Nice. I'm pretty good as well. So my first question I'd like to ask you is how do you feel about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? For me, Super Mario Maker 2 as a game, it's a great game, and it's like truly evolved from like what it once was. Like I bet it was intended as an anniversary game originally for the first game, but then it's devolved into this like big franchise. So what are your thoughts on it?
Mario Maker 2 as a game, it
Yeah.
was really good as a much needed sequel, which added a bunch of updates and mechanics that were needed. Yeah, the game is really fun and I enjoyed a lot. I haven't played Mario Maker 1 a whole bunch, even though I did get it and I have played it. But I'd say Mario Maker 2 is definitely the superior of the two games.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, Mario Maker 2 is a massive upgrade from the original, and to me, I think it's personally one of my favorite Switch games. Um, but yeah. So the second question I had is how do you feel about the community in Mario Maker 2? Because like there are a bunch of communities in the game, such as like, the Kaizo community, the Versus community, the Leaderboards community, all that jazz. So what are your thoughts on them? For me, some communities are still thriving and still active to this day, whereas some others have kind of either devolved or just like there's not that much going on in the community. But what are your thoughts on it?
I'd say that 100% the Kaizo community is still thriving as it's pushing the game to the limits, creating harder, more creative or difficult levels. Another one I'd like to talk about is probably the leaderboard community. I don't feel like new people are coming to take on the top 100 or top contenders as they're just continuing to push the score or records higher. And it's just the top ones there that are still left grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the game being nearly 3 years, or well, over 3 years old, at the time when this podcast releases, the game itself, it's become a lot harder to like grind for those leaderboards, considering the game, it's what's been going on over the past few years. Because at one point, the fastest world record time to get was like world records because on the leaderboards because world records were still like fairly new, but then a lot of people kept grinding for them, and then it just kept changing and changing and changing until the point where it was just like insanely hard. So it was kind of like a first come first serve type deal. But that was
Yeah,
that.
the only way really to get the crown now would be weekly weekly maker points.
Yeah,
And that's how I'd say 99% of people got it, including myself.
yeah. I mean, I barely
The
made
only
it.
one I would probably come close to, it might be world records, because somebody did overthrow D Steve's in like the past
Yeah,
half year, I'd say, in world records. D Steve's made a deal with them, and then they uh, took second place. But yeah, they grinded a whole bunch, and you can still get first other than Maker Points Weekly, but it is extremely challenging.
yeah, and it
Or
takes.
versus, because that does have a maximum.
Yeah,
That's insanely hard to get without boosting, which is a big problem in the versus community.
yeah, exactly. And that kind of goes to another topic I had in mind, but and also I just there is how do you feel about like like this seems so weird, but I think personally to me one of the biggest communities to me that seriously I would have never thought in a million years would have took off is the versus community. Um I personally think, in my opinion, that it was super, like, honestly, I always like playing against, okay, not always, but but I'd say about like half the time I do like playing against people who are better than me, because they have skill, they've grinded to where they've gone today, and it's seriously impressive on what they've done. But then I slowly, there was just some problems with, like, like boosters and like some alts, and it was like there was just the whole deal, which I'm sure has been around since the beginning, but it's really gotten more prevalent in recent. But in your opinion, what would you say is how everything is standing with the multiplayer versus side of Super Mario Maker 2?
Well, multiplayer versus, in my opinion, was a huge mode, as it was, I wouldn't say one of the first, but definitely a really big impact on multiplayer online.
Oh, absolutely.
For Mario, or like Nintendo, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but like Mario games.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really good and has a great idea, but obviously some problems are like lag and the disconnection and communication errors, which make you lose points, even if it's not really your fault.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a really fun game mode half the time, when you don't lose. But, yeah, it was really good, and I'm hoping that they can fix a few of those issues for Mario Maker 3, if it does come.
Yeah, because that's the main issue, and that's why people like myself, I've definitely like I mean, I still play versus, obviously, but not as much as I used to, and that's due to the fact with the lag, the communication errors, which is basically the same thing, but then like the bad levels, and like the fact that some of it is literally luck, that you like it's insane. Like, honestly, I feel like saying that there's a 25% chance of winning is too high, because I feel like there are many other factors to contributing to getting a win slash getting points and all that jazz. But
yeah, I'd say that there's an insane amount of factors based on the day, your mood, who you're playing against, how many people are in your lobby, the level you get. Because if it's Picador, then, if you've played it before, then obviously you know which one is right. And that's another factor. If you've played the level before, it gives you a slight advantage. But just lots of factors, and the only ones you can really maximize is your instincts and rapid decision making.
Yeah. Alright, so the next question I had was, what is the hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2? For me, it's like, I guess just, for me it's endless. Like, endless is, it's weird, because, with Expert, I got like 100 something clears, I think 133 by the end of 2020, and then, I completely nosedived and completely lost it, and I haven't been able to retain it ever since. And then recently with Super Expert, I got 10 clears, and then I got 2 more, and then I decided to be big dumb and get another game over, which to me is hard, because it's hard retaining those, because those are genuinely hard. But, like, I mean, you probably have different, like, more challenging stuff, but to you, what is more
honestly, that's fair. Super Expert might, like, be easier than Expert, as long as you just skip, and that's the hardest part on it.
That's literally what I do.
Skipping repeatedly for up to, like, minutes until you play an actually decent level that you can probably beat or get lives from.
Yeah, I usually go for 0 likes, 2 clears.
Sorry, you can go.
Sorry, yeah, I usually go for levels that have 0 likes or 2 clears, because those are typically people who boot it and skipped it.
Yeah. Okay, like, strategic, as long as it doesn't look like TAS or anything like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
pretty
I
much.
only got 35 Super Expert clears in a run before,
Mm-hmm.
and that seems like such a big and such a small amount at the same time,
I mean,
compared to like
yeah.
my 1.2k Expert clears.
All right.
But
Yeah.
Expert's easier, because you don't have to skip as much, but you also have to still play smart, so it's just weird. And also, Versus is really tedious, so I'd say that those things are probably the hardest part about the game.
Yeah. Like honestly, like seeing that Mario Maker is a viewer game where you have to where others create the levels, and then upload them. It basically is like luck in a way, but it's also in a way not, if that makes any sense. But
Yeah.
because you can encounter a fantastic level. There's like I feel like there's at the end of the spectrum there's get this garbage out of here, delete this level, up to Nintendo, please hire this person.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, and it's like I guess that's to me that's what makes the game fun. Like seeing what others have to offer in the game. It sounds odd, but to me that's what I feel. The final question I had for you is, do you have any tips and thoughts for people, because you've made your fair share of Kaizo levels, like you have any tips on making levels, playing like just like figuring out what to do in Mario Maker? For me, playing for in terms of making levels, I just usually go for the traditional route. Just make it like simple, just don't spam enemies, don't put Kaizo blocks everywhere. That's just for me, my personal preference. But do you have any tips that you can give?
That's. I mean, I can with my, I guess, specialized field, but everybody has their own kind of formula for like a traditional level. They can get a creative idea and expand on it. Obviously, like don't spam enemies or have really bad trolls like Kaiser blocks, because that will end up in a boo on your level.
Yeah.
But for like Kaizos or trolls, don't be repetitive. Try and be original. And I don't know. It's it's a vague question, but yeah, I'd say come
Yeah.
up with something that works
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
change it if it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I agree. It's pretty vague, but yeah, I mean in a way like I do feel that that this game to me is all about preference, what you want to play and how you want to, you know, how it feels. But
Yeah, the good thing is about this game is that like there's so many different kinds of levels,
mhm,
and it's normally pretty easy to find what you want to play, which is the great thing about this game.
yeah.
Whereas like in Nintendo Mario games or whatever, like Mario Bros. Wii or NSMBU or whatever, you need to actually like they're all traditionals,
Mhm.
as opposed to like you could find like a puzzle one which uses brain, or like a troll level, or a Kaizo which pushes your skills.
Yeah.
It's all available in this game, which makes it really good.
I agree. Well, yeah, those were all the questions I had for you. So, Beef, thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of EmanCast. Please go check out Beef's YouTube channel, his Twitter. You will not regret it. It he makes fantastic content. He's been really grinding over the past year on YouTube, and I highly suggest you check out his channel. Get him to 600 subscribers. Thanks again for joining me today, Beef.
No
And
problem.
yeah, and I will see you all on August 6th for episode 2 of EmanCast. Take care, everyone. Hello, welcome to the second episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today is Versus2567, a well-known streamer and well-known Mario Maker player.
Hello.
So, yeah, today we are going to be discussing some more Mario Maker 2 subjects. And yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes. So, Versus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, excited to start the second episode. So, yeah, all right. So, the first question that I had for you is in terms of like a casual format, how do you feel about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? Like just as a game to like casually play on your Switch?
I think that it is a wonderful game, personally, because there's so many options. There's something for everyone. So if you don't like something that's on a game, you can just find something else to enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. Like making levels and playing levels are just like you can do both of that in the game, which I guess if you're creative, you can make levels, or if you want to play a level, then you can do that also. But yeah. So the next question I had is on the other subject, the competitive side of Mario Maker. There are of course some teams in the game, like Team Shell, Team Precision, Team Jam, all that fun stuff. In terms of like a community, how would you feel like in terms of are these communities still thriving, and are they like still active, and how's the community overall in your opinion?
I don't really have a very descriptive opinion. I recently left Team Shell because the levels have gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to boo a lot more and more levels, so I left.
Yeah.
Team Precision, it got a little dead
Yeah.
before I left. I don't know how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be honest about this one thing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that the teams are divided. Like they're dividing each other because I've noticed that in teams, they'll literally bring their drama into other teams' servers.
Yeah.
And the mods generally don't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard in terms of that, but yeah, I can kind of see from that experience and in that nature. But
So I pretty much just left all the teams because I'm noticing a division more than what's the opposite where I'm looking for a union.
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would understand that as well. But all right. And the next question I had for you is if someone since like I mentioned you're a well-known streamer in Mario Maker, if someone were to like, say they want to start like a YouTube or a streaming career in Mario Maker with the game slowly, like I don't want to say the game is dead cuz it's not. It's still pretty active. But for you, would you say that it would be easier for like a newcomer to just start playing the game and experiencing it for themselves for like, an audience? Or would you think that it would just be better to like either play a new game or go to like a Mario Maker 3 or wait for a Mario Maker 3 to come out?
As someone who doesn't play Mario Maker as much as she used to,
Mm-hmm.
I still watch people play the game. So if anything, despite the fact that people might stop playing it, I think that they'll still enjoy watching others play it. So I think they'll be able to experience the game just fine with the same audience as if it wasn't dead.
Yeah. Because yeah, that's like a kind of a pattern I've been seeing like with streamers, like a lot of people, especially in the past year, I've noticed have been like dropping the game. They've just been like particularly like just either done with it or they just moved on. Like even like YouTubers just like have also just straight up moved on from it and have done other things. But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, like in terms of people quitting Mario Maker 2. For me, I feel like the community that has like I've seen a dip in people quit Mario Maker 2 in the last year is people in the multiplayer versus community. Now, for me, the multiplayer versus community has just like, I mean, the problems with it, of course, with people leaving it are lag, communication errors, bad levels, toxic players. And it's just like, I mean, it was just a whole thing, and people were, I guess, reasonably were tired of it, and they just left, and people would quit the game at 7,000, 6,000, sometimes even when they reached S+. So in your opinion, how do you feel about Versus as like a game mode in Mario Maker 2 and like as a community overall?
Well, I think you pretty much described how I feel about the game mode and the community itself. I mean, it's completely toxic, and the fact that they're claiming that people are toxic in Versus just for playing the game the way they're supposed to just says everything about their ego. Because you're literally supposed to kill your competitors. You're supposed to take the gold from them, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're going to make a big deal out of it and then cry about it in the Discord. And that's why people are leaving.
Yeah. And, like, rightfully so, because, you know, honestly, the point of Versus is, you know, to just, you know, it's like, Nintendo literally made co-op and Versus. Co-op is for, you know, if you want to have a little teammates, and then Versus is like, you know, just a place, you know, where you can, like, play the game mode. Compete, yeah. But, you know, I'm pretty neutral when I play Versus, because, like, I mean, I don't get really, like, because I'm bad at being toxic, so I just don't even bother, and I just do the fabled holding right to win, and see how well that works. But, yeah, I mean, it's all, yeah, I definitely, agree. Now, there is, I feel like every player who, plays Mario Maker has, like, a different preference in this, but, what do you think is the easiest and the hardest thing about Super Mario Maker 2? Like, when you just boot up the game and you just want to play it, what is something that is just, you know, easy about it? It's like, oh yeah, this is a breeze, nice and relaxing, or wow, this game is awful, it's time to throw this game in the trash.
Well, I think the easy part is just playing independently. I mean, I'll play some popular courses because those are some of the best levels, or I'll just make something just to, you know, help relax myself after having a hard day. Thing that's hard for me is the online multiplayer, between the lag, even with co-op, because people will treat that game as Versus, or they'll literally just kill everyone.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of trolling.
Yeah, and not really worried about finishing the level or completing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, yeah. I mean, that's another thing, and, you know, like, with, I forgot to mention, like, you know, the leaderboard stuff, like, the leaderboards are incredibly competitive in Mario Maker 2. They've always been. Like, I'm sure if you hopped on the game on June 28, 2019, when it launched, and you just started playing it, and you could have easily gotten up there, like, in Versus, like, you know, I remember day one, I think it was, like, S rank was number 1, but now they've reached the limit of 8,000, so it's just extremely competitive, especially to get to the top, not only with that, with, like, Endless, and playing levels with that, but D-Steve's is basically unstoppable, like, he has, like, all spiked,
oh my gosh, he really is.
Spiked gold medals on, like, I can't remember last time I checked. I think he had like 4 or 5. I'm probably wrong, but yeah.
He's got more than 3 now.
I thought he did. I thought he had like 3 or 4, or 4 or 5. But yeah, it's been a while since I checked. All I know is I think he has spiked in Endless Easy. Last time I checked, Endless Easy and World Records.
World Records.
Yeah, World Records. Yeah.
What was the third? I don't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you think, like, do you agree that going for, like, top spots on the leaderboards, because I kind of asked that same question with Beef in the first episode, and I think we both agree that, like, the only feasible way to get it, is by Maker Points weekly, and to get the Royal Crown and attire for number 1. So would you say that is the case, or would you say that there are other ways to, get the intended, I guess costumes or the bragging rights. I really don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I would agree that Maker Points Weekly is the way to get the costume, because that's exactly how I got it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I released my Team Shell Super World, I reached rank 1 in Maker Points Weekly.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that's how other people are getting the costumes as well. They'll literally make levels, like, spend a lot of time on them, and then release them all at once, and then that'll get them the Maker Points Weekly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, you know, and, like, the other thing is, like, there's the issue of the Mario Maker algorithm, which, like, sometimes, even if you make a well-designed level, it may just get shafted in with the bad levels. And, you know, of course, you've got refreshing levels in popular courses. Don't know how they're still on there, but, yeah. Now...
Yeah, I don't know if people enjoy the refreshing levels either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are people that do, and usually I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of them personally, but, I definitely know of people who like them, and, yeah. But, yeah. Alright, so the final question that I had for you is, what are your tips? Do you have any, like, tips that you can give to people for, like, making Mario Maker levels? And, you know, as someone like you who has made levels and in the game, and, you know, you really well designed levels at that. And do you have any tips for people who make levels on how to just, like, you know, make the game, I guess, a bit more fair for the player? I don't know.
Don't spam enemies. Avoid pick a path, pick a pipe, pick a door. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, those are especially annoying. I mean, unless you're making a troll level, then obviously add those.
Yeah.
But if you're just going for a level, I would stick with just focusing on the aesthetics. You could use mushroom platforms. You could use semi-solid platforms. You could even use tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, decoration, I feel like, is a thing that is really good in levels. That, like, as me, myself, I don't really make that many levels. But, yeah. But, yeah, those were all the questions that I had for you today. So, Versus, thank you so much for joining me on this second episode of EmanCast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It was a pleasure.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. So if you haven't already, please go check out Versus2567's Twitch. That'll be linked in the description. She plays Super Mario Maker 2 and Among Us, and a bunch of other games. But yeah, please go check it out. You won't regret it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the second episode. I'll see you all on September 3rd, 2022. For the third episode of EmanCast. Take care, everyone. Hello, welcome to the third episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSpeb2. Joining me today is Bulbasaur9, a well-known content creator and a well-known streamer.
Hello.
So, yeah, today we're going to be talk about some more Mario Maker subjects, and as I've mentioned, Bulbasaur9 is a well-known streamer in the Mario Maker community, and I have some questions I'd like to ask him. So, yeah, Bulbasaur, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to start this third episode. Yeah. So, the first thing, this is pretty much tradition for this podcast, is the first thing I would like to ask you is, what is your thoughts, like, casually, what are your thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? As in, like you're gonna pick up your controller, you're gonna play, you're gonna open it, and then you're just gonna play it. Like, what are your thoughts on the game in that regard?
My thoughts are, to be honest, Mario Maker 2 has this great variety of, like, for new starters or people that are really trying to grind. A lot of Mario Maker 2 content creators do, like, stuff with shell jumps and stuff, so I think it has a nice variety, because when I started playing Super Mario Maker 2, and still do, it's not always easy to play hard levels.
Yeah.
So people that do easy levels makes it feel more comfortable in some way.
Yeah.
Like, and the biggest importance is probably because there's online play. It feels so much more special. And when they're just like, sitting in your board, getting on versus or like co-op makes your day just way more exciting in my opinion. Because I've been playing Mario Maker 2 for years now, so it's nice. It's not a game I would always play because like sometimes when I play a chill game or a different game, but Mario Maker 2, it's a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think what mostly what you said is kind of most of it is what I feel. Like, just if you just feel like going to do an easy level, you can play an easy level, or if you want to do like go a little harder, then you can do that, and that's just a good possibility of the game. And I can agree that co-op and versus can be fun when there's certain factors, but if you're doing like flobbies, then you kind of know like if you play with friends, it's like you can kind of know how the game will play out. So I can kind of see what you're saying with that. Yeah. So the second question I had for you is, in terms of like communities in Mario Maker 2, so we just talked about the casual side, but what about like the more competitive side, I guess, like, cause there are certain like teams in the game, and there's like certain communities, like for example, the versus community, the leaderboards community, the Team Shell community, Team Jamp community. What are your thoughts, if you know about the communities, or if you're in a part of those communities, what are your thoughts on it as a whole?
To be honest, it in my opinion, it just shows how people really care about this game. That's the first thing I realized.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different communities that people create, that people work hard on, and it's nice to see that it's been like years and these communities are continuing. And like I'm not the biggest one that knows about this community, since I'm kind of low on like I'm not the best at knowing Mario Maker 2.
Oh, me neither.
Like all of the Mario Maker 2 community is very gentle, very peaceful, very nice from what I've seen. And like in whichever community you are in, it like specifically does tell you that what the community is about, but it gives you a nice space and you feel nice about it. That's why I like the Mario Maker 2 community, however it is.
Yeah, and like honestly, with all these communities, like I feel like there is something for everyone in the game, and that's what I think is like.
Right?
Yeah, there's like a lot of like anything that will fulfill like your needs when you play the game, those communities will be there. But yeah. All right, so the third question I had for you is I'm just gonna go like I talked about this with Versus in the last episode, but since you stream on YouTube, she mainly streams on Twitch, but you stream on YouTube, which to me, YouTube and Twitch have like a completely different audience for that. So from your experience of streaming Mario Maker 2, how would you say that it's easy for someone to just, start streaming on YouTube and like play Mario Maker 2, or would you just say that it would maybe best, like that it may be a little bit too late, and or just like wait till Mario Maker 3 to come out?
So in my opinion, I think you can start streaming Super Mario Maker 2 if you there's a very important part here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, you need to have people watching you that won't always make you feel stressed, but at the same time, you need to realize the fact that if you're going to play people's levels or just play Super Mario Maker 2, there is going to be problems, even if it's in YouTube or Twitch. That's the only thing I can see same with, since it's the same game. You are going to have times when a game could be difficult, or the viewer would want you to skip that or play his level or her level. So there is going to be those hard obstacles. Yeah. There's going to be hard times, hard obstacles that you'll need to pass. So it may be hard, but it is pretty easy to start in YouTube. Other than that, it's easy to, if you have the right materials, of course, it's pretty easy to just start a stream. like you can start from OBS, Atom Media, it doesn't really matter. But like the way it goes is, to be honest, personality is pretty important in YouTube, because in YouTube, the thing about Twitch is, I think more older audiences are in Twitch. So in YouTube, there may be more people that are younger.
Yeah.
So you need to make yourself be a little bit more mature and like say more gentle words and be kind, like more kind. Of course, like be kind in Twitch too. That's like, I'm not saying that you should be rude in Twitch. It's just that in YouTube, you gotta be a little bit more gentle because the audience could be younger. From my experience, there's like people that tell their age. I'm not gonna say specifically, but it is. It could. There, I have a lot of younger audience. So like if you're streaming YouTube in Super Mario Maker 2, you will have a younger audience. So the only thing I'm gonna say is like be gentle with everyone, because not all the time it's gonna be like just joking around. Some jokes would be serious, but you can fix stuff. It's not really problematic because younger audiences are easier to talk with too in some ways. So I think you should stream in YouTube, but just be aware from your audience because it could be a bit messy sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what you said was like, honestly, I'm sure how most people feel when they stream, especially with like viewer levels, or I guess like, you know, co-op or versus with viewers. I know with YouTube, when there's like 60 or 70 people, it's near impossible to get everyone to play. But like with viewer levels, yeah, I can understand that because, you know, when there's a bunch of codes being directed towards you, it's like there's sometimes it's like sometimes there's like people forget that there's like first come first serve. Like if you're the first person to submit a level, they come first, then you. It's like that's just the thing. That's like the one thing that can get, I guess, I don't want to say frustrating, but I can say that it can be like a little bit hard to like get used to.
It is though. I don't want to sound any rude, but some viewers, like, they could be pretty picky and not. Like I totally agree with what you just said. Like I hope this doesn't sound like bragging, but streaming after 2 years, like facing with like so many people that want their levels to be played first. Like, people can be picky. Very, very picky.
I mean, if you've been streaming for 2 years, that you would have had you have experience when it comes to
a lot of experience.
Yeah, so honestly, it doesn't really shock me that and that's just the thing. Like, I mean, it's cool that you seem to know like what your ground is and like what the expectations are for this, and I think that's really good, and that makes the community a lot more like inbound. If I mean, I agree with that. And to be honest, just to make one thing clear for anyone that plans on starting to stream in SMM2 and YouTube, don't do like me, because I did a video saying that, I'm gonna do streams when I hit 50 subscribers, guys, so subscribe. And now that I'm realizing, I was like, when you're really new to YouTube, just get a little bit of know how YouTube is, because it's not very easy to just start out of nowhere. Right, exactly.
Like, gain some experience, watch other streams, and know what your audience will be like. Yeah. That's a very important step that I want to say, and I said it like 3 times.
Yeah. I think it's kind of funny how you mentioned like the 50 subscribers, because I think it's like, I thought for some reason you had to have like 50 subscribers to like it was either to stream or stream on mobile. It was one of those two. I was reading like creator achievements a few days ago, and I thought I saw that like on.
And to be honest, I could have streamed in like 20 subscribers too, but my 2 years ago brain was like, you know what? Let's make this epic and start streaming when I have 50 subscribers. Heck yeah!
And look, and look at you now, 700 subscribers.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's been a long journey, but it's fulfilling. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is nice.
Yeah. All right. So the next question I had was what is to you the easiest and hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2 in terms of just like it can be literally anything. It can be like you booting up the game and like on one hand there's this, oh my goodness, this person made such a good level, this is the best part about the game. Or the other end is just like, if I could do it twice, I could. But what are your thoughts on it? Like, what is your easiest and hardest like part? What do you think it is? My words are bad today.
It's okay. To be honest, easiest part. That is it. To be honest, easiest part will probably be like to 100%. I don't want to answer something wrong. You mean like anything by easiest in Super Mario Maker 2. It could be like just like playing co-op or playing a parkour level. Like, do you mean by that?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then easiest thing would probably be, in my opinion, is booting up the game, going to versus, and probably just killing everyone that you want. But like this is yeah, I know not everyone really likes doing that, but I think the variety in Mario Maker 2 is sometimes you trust people so much in the game that it's so fun to trick them at the last time. Like,
yeah.
Like, so that's sometimes easy. Sometimes people are pretty smart and like, they Uno reverse you and then throw you off.
Uno reverse you, like, and then your plan gets backfired because they had that plan first.
Dude, like, I'm not kidding. I remember so many times trying to throw off someone off the cliff, but then I died too, and I don't know why. Like, just so I'm gonna put that in an easy, but sometimes a medium.
Yeah.
But it's probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Hardest. Probably Kaizo levels. Just Kaizo levels.
I agree.
Just
100%. 100%.
Kaizo levels, I'm not kidding. I've been playing Mario Maker 2 for 3 years, and I can't even beat a simple Kaizo level for crying out loud.
I mean, Kaizo levels, I mean, I feel accomplished when I like watch the indicators bounce on enemies. I'm like, oh my gosh, I beat a Kaizo level, let's go. But yeah, like honestly, that's very true. And yeah, the Kaizo levels can be hard. And yeah, I think what you mentioned is very, very true.
Yeah, I agree. To be honest, yeah, 100% true.
Yeah. Now, the final thing I wanted to ask you before we wrap this up is, do you have any level making tips to give people if they're making a level?
Yes.
Yes. All right, let's hear them.
Yes. So, first of all, biggest, very important thing, if you're making a level that is going to be like looking like a Nintendo level, add the background stuff. It makes such a huge difference.
It really
add
does.
Coins. Add like those like invisible blocks in some way that you gotta get, or like 10 coins that you need to go to get, like a Goomba, 3 Goombas and a Koopa Troopa. Like, if you're making a Nintendo level, that I played a lot from my viewers and the Nintendo levels, like, the whole style needs to look beautiful. Like, to be honest, that's kind of same for a lot of levels. If you want it to be very attractive, make it very detailed. Like, most important thing is background again. But like, I think everyone knows what I mean when I say the background,
right?
Like those
Yeah.
hill stuff, but that you can use for backgrounds. Like, that's the most important thing. And for 3D World, actually, same for 3D World. Actually,
yeah.
Same for 3D World. Yeah, you can use the backgrounds too. Other than that, yeah, like, yeah, that's actually kind of it. But wait. Sorry, one thing more. Thumbnails are very important for Mario Maker 2 levels. If you want it to be thing.
Absolutely.
Like, to be honest, I'm most of a player, so my levels are just based on easy stuff. But yeah, like, thumbnails are pretty important if you want it to get a lot of likes. And yeah, that's all of my tips for the love stuff.
Yeah. I feel like those are ones that I completely forgot about. Like the thumbnails, definitely very, very important. Decorations, also important. But yeah. Well, those were all the questions that I had for you, Bulbasaur. So, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You too.
No,
I'm here.
yeah, this was really fun. Please go check out Bulbasaur 9's YouTube channel. That will be in the link. That will be in the link of the description. And please go give it a watch. He streams and he makes amazing content. Please do check it out. So thank you for watching this episode of EmanCast, and I will see you all on October 1st, 2022 for the 4th episode of EmanCast. Take care. Hello, welcome to the 4th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today is Zumi SMM2, a well-known Mario Maker creator and level player.
Hey, you.
So, yeah, on this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about some more Mario Maker 2 subjects. And, yeah, so, Zumi, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm a little bit tired, but yeah, I'm just, doing good.
That's good. I'm doing pretty good myself as well. So, yeah, the first question, I would like to ask you is, this is what is typical for the podcast, especially for these past episodes. What are your thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? Like, as a game that you can just play, like, along with your some other Switch games that you have. What are your thoughts about the game as a whole?
I think the game is, like, pretty fun in general. It's maybe more chaotic than Mario Maker 1, but yeah, it's basically very fun. And the way that they added the updates throughout the years, and yeah, they added like a bunch of more stuff from since Mario Maker 1, and yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like the updates, you know how Nintendo's been nowadays with these free updates for games, like Switch Sports, Mario Strikers Battle League. Like, the difference between, I feel like there's another common thing, like, there's a difference between what Mario Maker 2's updates had and what these other Switch games have, because Mario Maker 2 was an actually finished game, and Mario Strikers Battle League and Switch Sports had like this like weren't unfinished. But honestly, that was I got completely off track. Wow. But so yeah, I'm with you. The updates were really good. But yeah. So the second question I had for you was, we just talked about the casual side, but what about like the more, I guess, competitive side of Mario Maker 2, like all the communities? Like, what are your thoughts about the communities in the game, whether that be the Versus community, the Kaizo community, the Precision community, all that? What are your thoughts on that, in your opinion? And it could be about any community that you could think of.
A couple more things about the Versus community is, I think the Versus community is very toxic about each other, and it's always like Twitter. There's constant like dramas or something. Mm-hmm. There's like a ton of cheaters and boosters. But on the Kaizo side is way less toxic and more fun, because you get to grind levels which they are pretty hard, and you get to learn things about the games, like different techniques and such.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, as like you play Kaizo levels a lot too yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that the Team Shell and like Team Precision teams are also good when it comes to like making levels in that?
Yeah, because on Team Shell and on Team Precision, there's like some rules, some very specific rules about level making, mm-hmm. and I think they're great.
Yeah, I that's what I've heard. But yeah. So the third question I had for you was, so what do you, when you are playing Mario Maker 2, what is the easiest and hardest part about the game? It could be literally anything. Whether you're just wanting to just have a chill time in Mario Maker, what would be that go-to type deal? And, hardest thing, like, okay, it's hard and some part of it can be kind of dreadful. So what would that be for you?
So the easiest part of Mario Maker 2 is basically the story mode. Okay, so it's sick that they added the story mode to the game, but in my opinion, it's way too easy. And the hardest thing on Mario Maker 2 is finding ideas for your levels just to make, because I'm legit struggling to find levels. And on CoreSpot, I'm making a new level, and I scrapped it and make a new level, and then scrapped it. And when I find the perfect level, I continue building it until I upload it.
Yeah. So I'll talk about that for a moment. The story mode was, I agree with you. The story mode was definitely a nice change in pace for Mario Maker. It was honestly unexpected, especially with Mario Maker 2 being like a maker game. I never would have expected it to get a story mode, to be honest. And the story mode is actually pretty charming. It has like, the level design is pretty good. And of course you have the unique clear conditions that aren't in, like, that you can't use. But yeah, the story mode is a nice addition, but I agree with you. The difficulty is a bit on the easy side, but yeah, it's pretty charming. And as for the, finding ideas for levels is tough, and and yeah, you mentioned finding ideas for levels was hard, especially when you're scrolling through CoreSpot.
Yeah, and also another thing for story mode is the fact that it's a new game mode, and it's pretty nice because on Mario Maker 1, we only got the endless challenges, but since they added like the endless challenges and the story mode, I think it's a pretty nice touch, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. It is, because 100 Mario Challenge was certainly like a nice, like, I guess, way to get the player into, like, difficulty. And I guess the story mode was like, okay, now you're playing a typical Mario game. And yeah, as someone who does have, like, in terms of, like, writer's block when it comes to making Mario Maker levels, I agree. Finding ideas for levels can be tough, and you want to make sure they're not, like, repetitive, or they're not, like, they're different from one another, if you're kind of getting what I'm saying.
Especially if you don't make, like, little teamy levels, just like enemies spam naked pipes and such.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the next question that I had for you was, in terms of, like, so okay, you guys may know this, Zumi, what medals, could you remind me real quick, what medals do you have in Mario Maker 2 last time you checked?
So I only have the Endless Expert bronze medal and the Super Expert bronze medal.
Yeah, didn't you have the Maker Points weekly gold? Did you have the gold ribbon for the Maker Points weekly at one point?
She did, and it was like early 2020 when I started the game. And I also got the all-time bronze medal since I got 13,000 Maker Points. Damn. But I basically lost it because I uploaded new levels.
So you upload new levels and Nintendo's like, okay, time for you to get off the leaderboard now.
So I'm gonna say something very true. And the medal system in the game is extremely jank, because you gain likes, you gain points from someone that just liked your levels, and the weirdest thing is you lose Maker Points when you upload a level, and when you delete a level, you regain the points.
Yeah, and it's really odd because like, the reason they do that is because, you know, of the like and boo system. If a level is booed, then, like, the Maker Points will go down. So let's say, like, the level has, like, I don't know, like, 100 plays, and it would have, like, 5 likes. And, like, not saying that that's the case, that's almost never the case, but the other 95 are boos. So, once you delete that, your maker points will go back up, but your likes will definitely go down from the 5 people that liked it, that were really in a good mood that day. But yeah, I 100% agree. It's definitely, like, weird, because at that point, it's just like, what's the point? And honestly, because, you know, Mario Maker 1 just had, like, the stars and the likes in that. But yeah, I can definitely see what you mean.
Yeah.
Alright, and my fault, sorry. So the final question that I had for you, if there was any tips that you could give for, like, new Mario Maker level creators, what would that be? And, like, how could you, like, what tips should you, like, what should be important while making a Mario Maker 2 level?
So to make a good level is to put secrets for the player to find, just like invincible 1-ups or 10 coins, and don't put so many enemies, because well, first it's unfair, and second it's unplayable. Just place enemies on the correct spot, just like not so far away. So, for example, you have a row of blocks, of brick blocks. You can put an enemy on the top of the blocks or on the floor. So yeah, and you can put also like mushrooms or 5 floors or Yoshi inside the blocks, so that the player will check every block and he will get like a special prize for finding the specific like item. And third is to use slopes as like some kind of boost in the level, because, well, slopes, since they added slopes in Mario Maker 2, it was like omega helpful for level designing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and put a lot of decorations on your levels. Don't make the level bland. Don't make the level boring. Just add some coins, some vines, some like semi-solids, and also never add naked pipes. Always put blocks behind the pipe or under the pipe.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty much all of what you said is extremely important. I think it was a while back, I can't remember, the decorations, I made sure, I think I noted that at one point, like in another episode, but decorations are super crucial when it comes to, like, making it. It helps make the level stand out in that, and yeah, I 100% agree. And the enemy spams, there should be, like, indicators also help with coins and that. And yeah, honestly, what you all said was very important. But yeah, so yeah, those were all the questions that I had for you, Zumi. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast. Yeah, and if you guys haven't already, please check out Zumi's YouTube channel and his Twitter. Those will be in the link in the description. Please check them out. You won't regret it. So yeah, thank you for watching this episode of EmanCast, and I will see you all on November 5th, 2022 for the 5th episode of EmanCast. Take care, everyone. Hello, welcome to the 5th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today for this month's special guest is Wits.
Hello.
So, yeah, in this episode, we're going to be discussing some more Mario Maker 2 subjects. And yeah, we're going to see how the 5th episode of EmanCast goes. So, Wits, how are you doing today?
Doing fine.
That's good. I'm doing well myself. Alright, so as tradition for, this podcast is, I always start off the episode with ask how you are, but, what are your thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? Like, not really competitive side, more of just like a typical casual game that you can play along with your other Nintendo Switch games. Like, what do you think of Mario Maker 2 in that aspect?
I mean, it's a I think it is a good game by itself, but I mean, like, it gets a bit boring after a while seeing the same exact levels just kind of spammed and stuff.
Yeah.
But the aspect is creative, being able to just make your own levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I get that. I also do get like the whole levels can get repetitive, like especially if you're playing like endless mode, then you'll definitely see like repetition when it comes to like the type of levels. Like with easy, you know you're gonna get like auto levels or just a standard hold
Template
right.
levels.
Yeah, probably. And then in expert, you'll probably get troll levels, and super expert, you'll get Kaizo levels, and normal. What do you usually get in normal? Like, I guess normal traditional levels, but besides that, yeah, I think that's it is, yeah. Now the second question is, now that we've talked about the more casual side of Mario Maker 2, in terms of like the competitive nature of the communities, which we'll talk more about the communities later on, but as a whole, what are your thoughts about the competitive side of Super Mario Maker 2?
Honestly, competitively, I think the game. Well, first of all, there is lag and stuff, but I feel like slapping a rank onto something makes a lot of people want to just become sweaty to get like an S rank or something.
Yeah.
It's a well-implemented system, but I just feel like competitive was something I kind of dropped out of because I just couldn't really
like
do much.
Like you're talking about multiplayer versus and that?
Yeah. It was just...
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Because I feel like that most online multiplayer games nowadays do have like that whole rank system, which leads to a lot more people wanting to grind and get the best score, which ultimately it can take the enjoyment away from the game, especially when you're like very far into what you do. I can understand that 100%. But yeah. Now, the next question, sticking with the topic of the competitive side, in Mario Maker 2, as I'm sure you're aware, there are communities in the game, such as the Versus community, the Kaizo community, all that, and there's like teams, like for those specific Kaizo levels, like Team Shell or Team Precision. If you have you been in like one of those teams, and if you have, what was your, like, did you enjoy it? And also to an extent, what are your thoughts on it?
I haven't ever been in like a team or something. I know I am in like I'm in the Versus Discord.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I guess not really anything much around there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've heard some things about the Versus server, but on the Versus Discord server, but I personally haven't seen anything but from what I've seen, but that may just be me, but because I know a couple of other people have had their experiences with like that the Discord, but that's not what I have seen, for me at least. Now the next question I have for you is, so you had mentioned to me a little bit earlier, and I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. So, you ended up dropping Super Mario Maker 2, or like just stop playing it, or significantly playing it less, or did you like or you just straight up don't play it anymore, or do you just like
I just straight up don't play it anymore.
Straight up play it anymore? Okay. And I've noticed that, it's been happening a lot, but people have different reasons for doing so. If you don't mind sharing, did you have just a specific reason for not wanting to play the game anymore?
Well, 1 was lag, 2 was kind of just repetitive stuff, and 3 was I was just kind of losing enjoyment with the game, to be honest.
Yeah, and when a game stops getting updated, it's like, what's the point of just like waiting? But
yeah,
hence something like, well, actually, I don't know. I was gonna say Switch Sports, but then I realized that they do get updates, just not in the right way. But
Free content updates.
absolutely. I mean, I was talking about that in the last episode with Zumi, and I was like, or I think I said it at the beginning, like, you know, Mario Maker 2 is actually a finished game, but it's still got updates, whereas something like Switch Sports or Mario Strikers Battle League, they aren't finished games, and they just get free updates, which
Yeah, Mario Strikers Battle League, I think, was the one game that got hit really hard by it.
And
like, with previous iterations, you at least had a decent enough roster. With Battle League, it just gave you, like, 10 characters.
right, and I think... And I don't even think it was Battle League's fault. I just think it was, like, the straw that broke the camel's back for people. Because that was, like, what, the 4th or 5th time that Nintendo had released an unfinished game in the past, like, 3 or 4...
$60.
What's that?
$60.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, yeah. But that's... Yeah, I guess... They thought that they were trying to get interest in it, keep interest by those updates, but if there's no content at launch, nobody's going to be interested. Like, I'm not joking you when I say I played Mario Strikers Battle League at launch. Like, when it first came out, I played through all the tourneys, but then when I found out it had updates, I said, oh, that's cool, and I still haven't touched it since. I still haven't played the game since, so... Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm pretty sure even with the free updates, there's still not going to be enough to satisfy the likes of, like, Charged or something.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, the stadiums are kind of bland in that, but... I got...
Literally, you just choose which color of grass you want.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of customization is just unreal. But yeah. I got a little bit off track, I know. So I agree. Those are a lot of things that, I have felt. Lag, absolutely. I have literally, when I'm upset in verses, I literally say, okay, this lag is dumb, I don't like it. And repetitiveness, we already talked about, and, the third one was just losing interest, which we kind of talked about with the free updates thing. All right.
Yeah.
So we've covered all that. So, the next question I had for you is, when you did play Mario Maker 2, did you ever make levels, or were you more of a player? Like, you didn't really make levels, you just played them.
I think I made a few levels, but afterwards just kind of quit after doing that, so it was more of, like, on the playing aspect.
Yeah. I've definitely played Mario Maker more than I've made Mario Maker levels, but yeah. Now this next question that I had for you was, when you did play Super Mario Maker 2, what is one thing that you loved about the game, or if you have any, or one thing that you did not like about the game? Like, I know that we kind of discussed why you dropped the game, but I feel like, yeah, there's stuff that, I mean, I'm sure the game wasn't all bad, it just was not that fun to play for 3 years anymore. But so what was one thing that you loved and one thing that you didn't like about the game?
Something I definitely liked was the little customization. Like, you could do pretty much anything with levels.
Yeah.
And all that, but one thing I just despised was the lag. Like, $20 to play on servers that ran like potatoes.
Potatoes. For real. I mean, the problem is, like, we're in the year 2022 and they're still using peer-to-peer servers. That was old in, like, 2006. It's like so behind of like I don't even know if I don't know anyone besides Nintendo who uses the P2P servers, but I'm sure they do. I just only know of Nintendo to do that. But yeah, lag is one that I definitely agree on. Customization, 100% agree. I think that Mario Maker 2 really upped what Mario Maker 1 had, and I feel like it's succeeded in that perfectly, at least for me.
What I also find funny is how the Switch is generally not really capable of playing playing outside games, like non-Nintendo games.
Like,
Take Fall Guys, for example. It's like really, really laggy on the Switch.
well, okay, I feel like Fall Guys can be 100% laggy. Oh yeah, absolutely. But to be honest, I have thought Fall Guys it's weird to me. Fall Guys runs better than stuff like Mario Maker 2, Smash Ultimate, and I think I haven't played this game yet, but Kirby's Dream Buffet also has laggy laggy servers. But yeah.
What I find ironic is how technically with the Switch itself, like the Fall Guys, they had to take out like probably 80% of the game because of the Switch
Yeah.
bugs.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But yeah. Now, the last thing that I wanted to say before we wrap this up is if someone were to make a Mario Maker level right now, from your experience of playing the game, what advice would you give on making levels? Like if a player wants to, or a new player, just someone wants to make levels, what advice would you give to those people?
I'll try and generally be creative. Probably don't just upload a literal template level or just something really unoriginal.
Oh yeah.
Try and just get creative with what you want to do.
Yeah. Honestly.
Also, don't put enemy spam.
Oh, absolutely not. I hate enemy spams. But yeah, enemy spams 100%. Template levels, absolutely. They are Nintendo's levels, not yours. So that's the way I see it. So yeah. Those were all the questions that I had for you, Wits. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast.
No problem.
Yeah. So I will see you guys all on December 3rd. Yeah, I forgot the date. December 3rd, 2022 for the 6th episode of EmanCast. Take care, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the 6th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today is Killer Taco Gaming, a well-known Mario Maker level player.
Hi.
So, yeah, in this episode, we're going to be discussing more Mario Maker 2 subjects and some more, like, level making and level playing stuff. So, Killer Taco, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's good. I'm doing good myself as well. Okay, so, the first question I had for you was, I typically ask this at the start of every single podcast episode. What are your thoughts about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? Like a game that you could just play on your Switch. Like it doesn't even have to feel like you can exclude the whole like teams, all that competitive side. Just a casual game that you can just have fun with on your Switch in a casual factor. Like what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a good game. You know, you can make levels and stuff like that. And I think it's a good sequel to Mario Maker 1. They added a lot of good new stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like story mode, new enemies and stuff like that. Versus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good game.
Yeah. I feel like the new additions were certainly well implemented. I certainly think that yeah, it was it was a well-deserved sequel that it really needed because just sort of to get a chance on the Switch. But now on the complete opposite side of things, so are you in any like teams by chance? Are you in any like Team Shell, Team Jam, like those teams?
Yeah, I'm in Team Shell.
Team Shell, okay.
I'm also Team Consistency. I haven't really done much with it, but
yeah,
because I don't have that many consistency levels.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to focus on Team Shell stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that regard of like all that nature, what are your thoughts about like all the like I mean it's not really like, I guess, the most competitive, but like it also is like the more, like, I guess, more competitive form side of Mario Maker, which could also fall under Versus, which is a very competitive mode. So, like, what are your thoughts about the competitive communities in Mario Maker 2? Yeah.
I guess it's cool. Like you can challenge each other and stuff like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about versus, right?
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, Versus is for sure.
I don't do versus, but I guess it's cool. You know, you can play with each other and the points and stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna talk about Team Shell. I think it's really cool. You know, you can push the game to its limits and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I like that we're still thinking of new ideas and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you with especially with Team Shell. I think I've heard from a couple other people that Team Shell is really just the place where people push Mario Maker 2 to its limits with what it can do and like how they can build levels. Like it's amazing to me. Like I see these kind of levels all the time that are represented in Team Shell, and it's seriously impressive. Like I don't even know how much time it takes. Like I've seen some of your levels, and like, do you submit those levels? Like, do you submit most of your levels that you make in for Team Shell that are more of those based, or do you just yeah?
Yeah, I submit them. They don't all get accepted because some of them are bad, but
That's that's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have one that's been pending for like months. I don't know who's gonna submit it, but
Right.
I don't know if it's good or not. Like, I think it's good, but some players might disagree. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about taste. It's all about taste. But I mean, I know there are guidelines in that, but yeah, I get that. But yeah. Okay, so the next question is that I have for you is okay, we kind of talked about all those casual, competitive, all that. What do you think is the easiest and hardest part about Mario Maker 2? Like, what is something that you just think, okay, cool, I'm going to grab my controller and, you know, make or have an easy experience? Or, you know what, you're like, okay, let's challenge myself, or I'm not playing this because it's too tough. So what are the easiest and hardest parts about Super Mario Maker 2?
I guess the easiest is like finding easy levels. I guess because I mean, there's a lot of easy levels out there.
Oh yeah.
That you can just play if you just want to play something. You know.
Yeah.
I know I'm a Kaizo player and I could probably beat levels a lot easier than some people, but still, there are easy levels out there if you just want to play something and just have fun. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess the hardest thing is like you were talking about, like playing levels and it's too tough.
Yeah.
Like I just can't grind levels because I just don't got the patience for it. I guess.
Yeah.
Because after like 2 hours, I'm just kind of want to play something else, you know.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
I don't like.
Oh, go ahead.
Just grinding a level for like 20 hours just doesn't sound like something I want to do, honestly.
Oh, me neither. I don't ever grind levels for 20 hours.
Yeah.
I have like massive.
Yeah.
I have like massive respect for people who can like. I can do that. Like it's like me. I can never like. I can probably like. That's why I hardly play Super Expert, because like when I play Super Expert, I can't beat half of the levels there. So like it's mainly just a skip fest until I can actually find a level that I can play. But yeah, yeah. I 100% agree with what you said. For the easy side, absolutely, Endless Easy is perfect for like finding that laid back levels to play, or I guess Super Expert. Like, yeah, like, you know, honestly, the problem is, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm not someone to keep playing the game for, like, a long period of time. Like, I'd say probably, maybe, if I'm in a decent session, I will play Mario Maker 2 for, like, maybe 3 or 4 hours, but, yeah, I mean, I get that, 100%. But, yeah. Now, the next question I had for you is, so you make, you Killer Taco Gaming makes YouTube videos. Do you make like a lot of, just making sure, you make a lot of like Mario Maker 2 stuff, or do you do other stuff? Because I've seen your Mario Maker 2 videos, but I didn't know if you did other stuff on your channel.
I've pretty much just been doing Mario Maker stuff.
Yeah.
Like every now and then I make something else, like, but honestly I don't really know what else to make. It's just
Yeah.
whenever I'm bored, I guess.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Killer Taco Gaming makes a bunch of Mario Maker 2 Kaizo videos, whether that be levels that he made or levels that was made by other creators. Yeah, it's very good. He has a really great consistency when it comes to this. But do you ever find like this is a new question, but I feel like I have to ask you because I've been like, because sometimes I see your shorts and you're fairly consistent with the shorts. Like, I mean, there's like, it feels like you put them out a lot, and I feel like, do you ever get like, burnt out from like having all these like levels? Because like you see, because like, Mario Maker 2 is an endless Mario game, so you'll have infinite levels forever. So yeah, but what would you say? Like, would you say that there's like a grind for it, or do you just like, yeah?
Yeah, I do. I am kind of tired of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because at this point, the only reason I'm doing it is just because I want a video to pop off.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. It hasn't really happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I did get one video with like 5,000 views, which is pretty
nice.
good.
Yeah,
I
that is
think.
good. That's very good.
It's my most viewed video.
That's good.
But yeah, I do kind of want to stop because I feel like I got so many videos. It's just kind of the same thing over and over and over again. I feel like eventually I want to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. And it's always good to like not.
Yeah.
It's always good to not like burn yourself out. Or, like you should have enjoyment with like what you do. So I get that 100%. Like being like not really wanting to change up the content or just like making something completely different, which I get that. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I discussed that. Now, the final question that I had for you was, I feel like I'm forgetting a bunch of questions, but my brain's like out of it right now. I don't know why, but
I understand.
But the final question I had for you was, when a new user, like when someone new is making levels, or just anyone in general, if someone is making levels, do you have any advice that you would want to give them for making levels? Like if they just started, or like, what are stuff that you think that like should and shouldn't be in levels?
I guess something to do is like make sure that you're being original, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't just copy levels because people will call you out on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And and also make sure there's no like jank, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Like if you feel like a setup is really annoying to do, because I'm gonna be honest, I used to do this in the past where I just tried to make the most annoyingest thing possible.
Yeah.
And because I just wanted to be hard.
Right.
But if setup feels annoying to you, don't put it in there, especially if you're trying to submit it on Team Shell, because they will probably not accept it.
Right.
And yeah, be original. Don't put annoying stuff.
Yeah, being original is 100% one thing that I agree with. Like seeing, like I mean, you could be like remaking things or like just re-uploading a title screen level or something like that. Like be original with what you can do if you can. But jank is also a big one. Like I know a lot of level creators just want the level to be hard, but I feel like there's this like sometimes people forget that like the level is more annoying than hard because it's like designed in like a weird fashion. But
yeah,
that might be just me. But I 100% agree with what you said. So yeah. Well, those were all the questions that I had for you, Killer Taco. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast. So
all right, you're welcome.
Yeah, no problem. And so okay, thank you so much for watching this episode. EmanCast will be taking a short break. On the next episode would be January 7th. However, The next episode will fall under the break from Eman SMM2 and all 3 Eman channels. So I will make more in detail on that on the main channel when the New Year's presentation comes around. Have a great holiday. I will see you all on February 4th, 2023 for the 7th episode of EmanCast. Happy holidays, everyone, and take care. Hello, welcome to the 7th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, Eman SMM2, and welcome to the first EmanCast episode of 2023. Joining me today is Neagle Jiggle, a well-known Mario Maker level grinder and a streamer overall.
Hello there.
So yeah, we're gonna get started with the 7th episode and the first episode of 2023. It should be pretty good. So yeah, Neagle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mr. Eman. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like we're just ready to get started. I just woke up, so I'm feeling ready for this. So yeah. Now the first question that I had for you, Neagle, was what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what made you want to like keep grinding for things like you do, like medals and that, and what made you like want to just play it in general, if that makes any sense?
Oh yeah, when it comes to level grinding and like my medals and all, the main reason I keep doing it, like I've been doing it for a few years now, the reason I keep going is because I have like an end goal, and that is get all like 10 golds, which I'm closing in on. I have like, at the moment, I have 7 golds, 3 silver, which is pretty nice.
Nice.
Though I used to be better, but yeah, it's hard to maintain. At the moment, I am playing Super Expert, so I'm kind of taking a wee bit of a break from the level grinding. Like, I need to get I need to do the versing to get the gold medal for versus. But I'm kind of just taking a break from it for now.
Yeah.
But I've been able to grind for so long because I have an end goal, I would say.
Yeah. And how close? And so the gold medals that you do have, like so from what I'm hearing, you have silver for versus, Super Expert, and what would be the other thing that you're missing?
Normal.
Normal. Oh, endless normal. Okay. Yeah. So very, very close. 70% there. That's pretty good. Now, the second question that I had for you was, what is the easiest and hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what is something that, like, when you go on, you're about to have a chill session, it should be pretty fun to do, just easy and relaxed. But on the other end of the spectrum, like, what, when you play it, is, like, incredibly hard about Mario Maker 2, in your opinion?
I would start with the easy question. I would say if I want to have like a chill time, I'll probably do first clearing, to first clear some levels. I find that enjoyable.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking about what I find hard, it's probably versus, because versus, a lot of it is skill, but there is like a little bit of luck involved with versus, which can make it incredibly difficult if you want to go up in points. Like I do have 6,900. In versus, but it's hard to go up. Like I'm like 50 down from the highest I've been in versus, and it's hard to get motivated to play versus.
Yeah, and I get that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something else?
No.
Oh, okay. So yeah, as for first clears, I 100% get it, because, you know, the best way to get new clears is just go to new courses, and most of the time the levels are either short or pretty easy, so I can understand that completely. Yeah, and I 100% agree with you with versus. Like, we'll talk about versus later on in this episode, but just basically, I get it. Like, I've played versus, like, I think a couple days ago, and, like, I'd say some of my wins were literally luck-based, and some of my losses were getting extremely unlucky, which really demotivates some people from it, and I understand, and I completely get that. But,
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, the next question that I had for you was, so Mario Maker 2 has a lot of interesting communities. Like, they have a bunch of communities outside the game, or I guess in the game for that matter.
So, specifically, if you are in any of the communities or like the teams such as Team Shell, Team Precision, Team Jamp, and all that, what are your thoughts about the communities that surround Super Mario Maker 2?
Oh yeah, I am in Team Jump. That's, I think, the only team I am currently in. I'm in some of the servers for the other teams, but I'm not like an official member.
Oh yeah, same.
Like, I made a level for Team Jump a few months ago, and because to get into Team Jump, you have to make at least one level for the team, and if you make the level, then you're an official member.
Yeah.
So, I like Team Jump. I like the levels, most of them. There are like a few weird ones here and there, but I like the team.
Yeah.
Team Shell, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not the greatest at shell jumps. Team Precision, kind of the same thing, though I do like probably Team Precision more than Team Shell.
Yeah.
I think the communities are great. I like the teams.
Yeah.
I don't have much bad to say about them.
Yeah. I get that. 100%, like, I'm with you with the Team Shell. Like, I think I am in the Team Shell and Team Precision Discord, but when I can't do shell jumps very well. I freak out when I can hit one, but that doesn't mean I can do like 5 consecutive or something like that. So I'm bad at shell jumps, so I obviously don't really play many Team Shell levels. Team Precision levels, I've said it, and actually Team Shell levels for that matter. I always prefer watching levels of Team Shell and Team Precision rather than playing it, because I can't play those levels. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I 100% get it. Now the next question is, this is a traditional EmanCast question, but I feel like it'd be a pretty good answer for you. In a casual sense, how do you? So like, just think of. Let's just ignore all the competitive aspects of Mario Maker 2 for now. Like, when you open up Mario Maker 2 and you're just like, okay, this is a normal game that I have on my Switch. In a casual sense, how would you feel about Super Mario Maker 2 as just a casual, relaxing game that you can play sometimes?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a great experience to be able to play casual if someone wants to play casual. I would say I sometimes do play in a casual manner.
Mm-hmm.
So I do understand. Like, I will say with Mario Maker 2 nowadays, less people are making levels than they used to be, so it's a bit harder for like a casual player to get into Mario Maker 2. Like, the community's a little bit more spread out now, so. But I feel like for a casual player, Mario Maker 2 is still a pretty good game if they were to join.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the game is, yes, a lot of people are still buying it, so yeah, 100% get it. Now, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, in a competitive sense, like basically the opposite of this question, how do you feel about Mario Maker 2, like the competitive nature of it, like whether that's medals, grinding out stuff, like what is your opinion on that?
Well, obviously, I do like grinding medals.
Yeah.
I will say that. So, like, I will say about the versus community, it can be a little bit toxic at times. I've seen it in the versus server. There's some toxicity every now and then, but there are a lot of very, very nice people in the competitive scene in Mario Maker 2. And I am friends with like a few of them. There are some like outliers that can be like there's a lot of people who are kind of restrict the way you play, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like, you're not allowed to not wait. You have to wait. If you don't wait, you're being rude to the other person. And I personally do wait, and I can understand someone who doesn't wait, but there are people who will go after someone if they don't wait. Right. Which I don't really like. I don't like that. Yeah. But overall, like, most of like the competitive scene in Mario Maker 2 is pretty nice. I enjoy it. Yeah. Especially like medal grinding.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you on the verses. Like, I have like I'm in the server, I'm just never active in it. It's like because like, you know, it is very aggravating when like, you know, people get really upset when you don't wait. Like, I get it, but like also I've always stood by the fact that if you're the one who wins, then you can make the call. You have that power. You've won. So you can wait if you want. You can don't if you don't want. It doesn't make sense when I explain it, but like basically, like, I 100% get it. It's really, really, it can get really, really, like, frustrating. But yeah, and this is just a curiosity question because it piqued my curiosity. I think it was when I interviewed Beef back in episode 1. I asked him. I think I asked him like how many hours he had, and he said to me that you had something like 3,000 hours. How many hours of Mario Maker 2 do you have? This is just a curiosity question because it's always piqued by curiosity.
I have the max amount of hours.
Oh, the max.
The max.
Is
yeah,
that
not
for,
many who have it.
Is that 5,000 or 3,000?
Max is 9,999.
9,999.
Yeah.
Which is probably more, but wow.
I know 100% is more.
Yeah.
Me and there's 2 others in my friend list have 9,999.
Wow.
It was being like KDZK, the Japanese player. He was like 3rd on like world records, and there's this player called Valin. Mm-hmm. You probably don't know them.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9,999 hours. A lot of those hours, I will say, came from like lockdown, that kind of period.
Oh yeah.
When I had nothing to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I would say I'm collecting hours a lot less nowadays. I'm not playing it as much. I still play it quite a bit, but I'm not playing it to the same extent I used to. But
exactly. Yeah,
I do have a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I can't deny it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely playing Mario Maker 2 a lot when the COVID lockdown started because, I had nothing else to do. So, and I got S+. So, yeah, it was kind of a perfect time. But yeah, that was just a quick sidetrack question I wanted to ask you. Now, the next question, it could be a little bit subjective, but it's something that I feel like should be asked. How do you feel about the current state of Super Mario Maker 2? Like, do you believe it's still thriving, or do you believe that there are things that are like slowly drifting away about it?
Well, I definitely feel like a lot of the community, or at least some of the community, is like leaving. Mm-hmm. You see players like stop playing all the time now.
Yeah.
Like I had 2 buddies of mine just stopped playing like the past month.
Yeah.
So there are people leaving. I think the game is still alive for like streamers, sort of, not as alive, but if you look on Twitch, there's still people watching. YouTube, there's still people watching. But like there is definitely, I would say the hype around Mario Maker 2 has definitely died down since like 2019, like when everyone was playing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And versus, if we're talking about versus also, it's versus like, well, I'm in the EU, so versus EU, you don't find many players. You usually find the same players every day.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really many new players coming to versus, and I think the US has the same problem, or like any other place other than maybe Japan, because I think there's like that many versus players in Japan that there's not really a problem with there being like a lack of players, but there's definitely a lack of players in like EU and America.
Yeah.
Like at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it has certainly, like, you said it perfectly, like, Nintendo was just so quick to just snap Mario Maker 2 out of existence because they released the last major update not even, like, a year after the game came out. So, it felt like it was just, Nintendo was like, okay, here's this, which, that creates, like, a very, like that loses interest for the game, and people have rightfully like not wanted to play it anymore because they got bored of it. But and I get that, and I agree with you. Like, I have a hard time finding people in versus sometimes because nobody really plays it as much. And Japan, I am with you 100%. I'm sure the community is still active there, but I couldn't have said it better myself. But now. As some of you may know, and as I said in the intro, Neagle is actually a streamer of Mario Maker 2. He streams a lot of endless stuff and versus stuff and that. Now, how is it, like, you kind of mentioned this a little bit in the last question with, like, streaming. How would you say making content for Mario Maker 2 is nowadays, whether that's with just making videos for it or just streaming it, whether that's on YouTube or Twitch?
Well, because I'm a YouTube streamer, I will say that it is getting harder to get new viewers when it comes to Mario Maker 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Like around 2020, I could get like a bunch of new different viewers coming to my channel. Nowadays, it's like maybe 1 or 2 every stream, because I do have like a small, I would say, fan base of people who will regularly come, but not many new people are like showing their faces. And I see like a lot of these smaller YouTube streamers, they're not getting like a lot of views because it's actually a lot harder now to get views. And on Twitch, I would say Twitch is probably, if you wanted to start streaming, it would probably be best to start on Twitch, because I think Twitch, because of the way you can raid people, you still might have a chance on Twitch if you start Mario Maker 2 streaming, depending on what you stream, because there's certain things that people would not watch if you streamed it, like maybe what would it be, speedrunning something, maybe like 16 levels in easy. People aren't probably going to watch that much, but there are some things that people find entertaining.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to like content making, I think it is like the views are going down when it comes to content making on Mario Maker 2, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I haven't been making much content. But I feel like unless it's shorts, because I feel like shorts are still doing well. Shorts, like YouTube bringing in shorts, you get a lot of views if you do, like, if you make like a good Mario Maker 2 video and it's a short, you might get quite a lot of views. But content like video making, it's a bit harder to do.
100%. And as someone who makes Mario Maker 2 content fairly regularly, I definitely have seen like I don't want to say a decline, but I've also seen something that has, like, it's been significantly less. Like, the demand for Mario Maker 2 has certainly gone down. Like, I still will continue to make Mario Maker 2 content, but I've said it before, the thing that Mario Maker 2 desperately needs to keep a community alive is an update or just a straight up new Mario Maker game, like a Mario Maker 3 or something like that. And yeah, streaming on Twitch is certainly like, I believe that if you are a Twitch streamer and you want to just play Mario Maker 2, you should also have some variety just in case. And yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. But yeah, now you are someone who really like works on making sure that you can get all these amazing achievements in Mario Maker 2. But Mario Maker 2's algorithm is something that has been pretty controversial in Mario Maker 2. How would you say that the Mario Maker 2 algorithm is really played out, in your opinion? Like, is it as bad as people are thinking, or do you think that it's like, there's a way to figure it out?
Are we talking about the maker points? That kind of area?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, getting your getting your level played and getting maker points off of it.
I personally don't really mind the maker point system. I think the maker point system works if people weren't making as many refreshing levels as they are on popular. My levels, there are some of my levels that I don't believe probably deserve as many places they have. However, like, I think the system, in my opinion, works to a certain extent, because it's more user driven. If people like a certain type of level, it's going to stay on popular. If people don't like it, it's going to go off of popular. Like, popular seems mean, but at the same time, it's not really Nintendo's doing. It's really just the players. They get to decide what stays on popular, what goes off popular. Now, there might be something to be said about getting a level to even be on popular, because you need to get a certain amount of likes to begin with to get it on popular. And there's like a lot of, like, some people will like someone's level and they will like them back, like for liking. That's the system some people use, and I personally have used them in the past, I will say. Not like going to streamers and doing it, but just liking someone's level and they might have a chance of liking back. I think overall, though, I do think the system's pretty good, in my opinion.
I agree. So yeah, it is. I would say also that it is pretty good. Like, it all depends on the quality that you're gonna upload. Like, if you're gonna upload something that's not as polished, like, just not the best level design, it's not gonna get the attention that I don't think it would deserve, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Now, So this is very, very, like, I can tell because 7 gold medals is crazy to me. But how is getting medals, like, I know there are some levels that or medals that there are some medals that you can get that aren't as hard to get as like some others. But like when you're just getting a standard, like how hard would you say it is to get medals in your opinion?
Well, some medals are harder to get than others. I would say, in my opinion, like weekly. Weekly is definitely the easiest because all you have to do is get on popular,
Yeah.
maybe a few seconds, and then you're gonna get first.
Right.
Now, okay, like versus and maker points are probably the hardest medals to get because I haven't got them.
Yeah.
However, if you're a good maker, it still might be hard to get gold all the time. Gold all the time. The problem with gold all the time is a lot of the people who have it were there day one and they got like a big level day one.
Oh yeah.
So it's nearly impossible nowadays,
Uh-huh.
especially with like the lower player count. Now, some medals that I would say are still possible to obtain, like in a decent amount of time, would probably be super expert,
Yeah.
expert, and maybe first clears. Those are like the easy. I say easy, like expert and super expert is not easy, but
Right.
the amount of levels you need to actually gain the gold medal isn't as much as
Yeah.
like easy endless because you need like 40,000 levels cleared.
Right.
Even gain gold on easy endless.
Yeah. Which
And
a lot of people don't
world
have that time.
records. Yeah, world records. It's highly likely someone might take a lot from you, so it's hard to get gold on that.
Yeah.
Clears, you need like a 70,000 or so nowadays to get the clear gold medal.
Yeah.
Like overall, there are some that are easier than others. I do enjoy collecting medals because I was collecting medals probably. I think I started not day one. I didn't start day one, but I started maybe either a few weeks or a few months after the game's release. I just thought to myself, hey, I might as well collect medals.
Yeah.
And here I am today with as many as I do now.
Yeah.
As many as I have now.
Yeah. But yeah, 100% agree. There's not a lot I could say because the only medal that I have is like top 1,000 for super expert, which I got from clearing like 13 clears, but then I lost it and now I'm back to 0, which is annoying, but you know, it's nice to have a medal. It's a good thing to have, but yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. Now, I'm going to skip this question because we kind of talked about it a little bit already, but we talked about the activity of the Mario Maker 2 community. I believe how it's like kind of in the YouTube streaming. So yeah, I'm sure you'd stand by like with the whole like YouTube streaming viewership not being like it used to. I'm sure you'd still think that like the community is like certainly not as popular as it was in 2019. But
Indeed.
yeah. So now this next one is something that I've personally thought, and some people do talk about it, but I'm someone who believes it very, very harshly. Now, what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what would you say, like, how they just, like, kind of swept it under the rug for a little bit and, like, haven't really been giving it that much, but that might just be me. Maybe I just think that, but, like, in your opinion, what would you say, how would you say Nintendo treats Mario Maker 2?
Well, I think nowadays they kind of have abandoned it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with the updates was, well, if you go to the Maker area in Mario Maker 2, and if you look at the different themes, I think it is, like there's SMB, SMB2, not SMB2, SMB3. Mm-hmm. There's a section called More Game Styles.
Oh,
with
yeah.
An S. Mm-hmm. And, like, it seems like they were going to add more game styles with the way it's, like, extra game styles.
Yeah.
But they just never did, which I think is the reason, like, a lot of people are upset.
Yeah.
Because people expected probably another game style to come out. But they, like, I think what they gave us was pretty good. I like what they gave us. Should they have given us more? Maybe. It's hard to say, because maybe if they added too much, it'd be hard to actually make a level with all. That's maybe just me. I just find it hard to when there's like too many items to choose from to make a good level, because I would just overdo stuff. But I think I don't particularly like how they treated it near the end. I like, because like nowadays there's like nothing going on. They used to have ninjas, like the ninjas were good and all. I didn't really participate too much in the ninjas, but whenever one came out, it was fine. I would play it, though. I think they kind of did tease that they were gonna like bring some, like maybe update Mario Maker 2 again. Whenever they did like that Link, they did like a Link Ninja.
Yeah, the Link's lightweight long shots. Yeah, that was hype when I saw that. I was like, wow, ninjas are coming back, but no, it hasn't been updated in almost 2 years.
Yeah, like it kind of made people think maybe Nintendo's gonna bring something to Mario Maker 2 again, but then it was, after that it was nothing. Like, and it was weird how they brought that ninja out. I think it was how long after? I think it might have been half a year or more after the last ninja.
Yeah.
So it just kind of brought hype back, and then just nothing since.
Right. Because, yeah, I mean, the thing I've said is I agree with you with the extra game styles. Like, that is my biggest pet peeve about Mario Maker 2 is that it's still there, and then there's that stupid gap that indicates that there's going to be an extra game style. Like, Mario Maker 2 got a random patch in November of 2022. If they updated that, and made it so that, like, it wasn't there, I would have freaked out. I would have been all over that update, but yeah, and it's certainly not gonna, and I don't think it's ever gonna get fixed, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, and yeah, I 100% agree. Like, Ninja Speedruns coming back was extremely hype, but then they just forgot about it again, or they just didn't feel like updating it, so yeah.
It is always possible that they might bring out another update eventually, but I doubt it. But at the same time, I have hope still there. Though maybe at the end of this year, I'm just gonna give up, like, with hoping that they're gonna bring another update.
Yeah.
Because I think there's still like a simmer of a chance, but like, I don't know.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Right. Because I'll say it that Mario Maker 1 came out in 2015, and then Mario Maker 2 came out in 2019. Now it's 2023, so that if we're taking a 4-year gap, if Nintendo doesn't update Mario Maker 2, it might be time for a new game. But, yeah. But that might just be me. But, yeah. Now, we're going to skip this question, too, because, we talked a lot about the multiplayer versus community in Mario Maker 2, whether that with the versus Discord, so we're just going to skip that one. Now, we talked about your easiest and hardest part about Mario Maker 2, but the only reason, I'm sure you play Mario Maker 2 because you find enjoyment in the game, yeah. So, what would you say is your favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2?
My favorite part? Probably the game's community, because I have made like a lot of friends in the community. I think it's a great, vast community of different play styles, different players. There's like something for everyone in Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
People are doing shell jumps, precision, just making like traditional levels. There's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Like a newcomer could come to Mario Maker 2, play some easy endless, normal endless, or like a hardcore veteran could come and play some expert or super expert, or even versus. There's something for like everybody. And my favorite part is 100%, I would say, the community. My second favorite part, if I had to like pick a second, I would say probably just the levels.
Yeah.
Of, well, Mario Maker 2. The levels in Mario Maker 2, there are a lot of great levels. And I think you have to have bad levels to really appreciate the good levels in Mario Maker 2.
Right.
Because they're like, the level quality of some of these levels that people bring out, it's fantastic. I really do enjoy what people are bringing out in Mario Maker 2. Even today, there's still some like absolutely amazing levels coming out, but maybe not as much as there was in 2019. But there's still like a decent amount coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Just playing levels and appreciating those good levels because you don't appreciate something until it's gone, and like when you play a bunch of bad levels, you're like, wow, this good level that I played prior was very, very fun. But yeah, now on the other hand of the spectrum, Mario Maker 2 is certainly not perfect, in my opinion. What would you say is your least favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2 with that logic? Or if you don't have anything, then yeah.
Probably No More Endless.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. It is the most, for me at least, it's the most boring Endless there is.
Yeah.
Because almost every single level in No More Endless has a boss fight.
Yeah.
So you just have to play through the traditional level, and then you have to beat the boss.
Yeah.
And that makes No More Endless the slowest, and I would say the most tedious to play. Especially for me, at least, when I try and grind medals. It's why it's the only silver Endless for me. I just can never bring myself to play it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, at least Endless Easy has at least Endless Easy has really short and at least they're short levels and then they're just auto levels, so you don't even have to play them. But yeah, I 100% get where you're coming from. But yeah.
Yeah, and the Easy Endless, like with Easy Endless, at least you can like watch something while you play. You don't have to have your full attention on it. With No More Endless, you have to have your attention a bit more on the game because of some of the levels. They have like trolls sometimes, or like little tricks in them. So you have to like be a little bit more attentive, which can be a bit annoying, especially if you just want to have like a laid back experience.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah. Now, the final question I had for you, and we're going to wrap the episode up after this, is if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter, when it comes to making levels in Mario Maker 2, what advice would you give them?
Make something unique. The weekly leaderboards are pretty oversaturated with the same kind of levels, and I feel like if you were to make something unique, people would love to play it because I don't think there's been enough unique levels recently. So people would love to play unique levels. Like my profile, I used to make like speed runs. I will say, used to make like your average speed run. Now I've moved more towards either traditional or jump levels, even though I've only made one jump level, but still, don't try to follow what other people make. Try and make something that you enjoy, that you think others will enjoy, because if you try and make something just for it to get popular, there is a good chance it will just flop, because it's just been overdone. No one really wants to play like the same refreshing level. Though then again, the weekly leaderboard says otherwise with all these refreshing levels. So
yeah, that's true.
Hard to say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Uniqueness and originality is a key factor, and I've stood by it for a while, and I 100% agree with it. But yeah, well, those were all the questions that I had for you, Nigo. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast.
Absolutely. This was great.
Yeah. Make sure you check out Nigo's YouTube channel. He's a great streamer and a great content creator. His streams are really entertaining to watch. You won't regret it if you check it out. Please do. So thank you so much for watching this episode of EmanCast, and I will see you all on June 3rd, 2023 for the 8th episode of EmanCast. Reminder that episodes are now every 3 months as opposed to 1 month. So I'll see you on June 3rd, 2023 for the 8th episode of EmanCast. Take care, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the 8th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSPM2. Joining me today is Eric, a Super Mario Maker 2 level maker and streamer.
What's up?
So, today we're going to be doing the 8th episode of EmanCast, finally. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'm excited to have him on today. So, Eric, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful.
That's good. I'm doing good as well, so yeah. Alright, so the first question that I had for you, Eric, was what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what was your primary motivation from it? Like, to just continue to play it, and yeah.
This is kind of a tricky question, but in reality, it was, I think, early 2021 We were just coming off that horrible year of 2020 with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And before that, I think I was playing a bit of Splatoon 2, so I kind of got bored, and, I had streamed a bit of Mario Maker 2 before.
Yeah.
In, the summer of 2019, I believe. So I was kind of, seeing, if I could do that again and try to grow an audience. And, it kind of worked. People kind of showed up to my streams, and it was really fun. And then I guess I really started playing the game from then on and streamed it, I'd say, for about a year and a half. Don't really play the game anymore, but I think what got me to start playing it was the whole community itself. Really liked seeing that community grow, and then I made a lot of great friends through that. And here we are now.
Yeah, especially coming off the pandemic, it's I 100% agree. You when you're quarantined, you see all these people and you're like, oh, I want to give that a shot. So yeah. So the second question that I had for you was, what is the easiest in your opinion? What is the easiest and hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2?
Oh, now that's another tricky question. See, the levels, of course, depending on the type of level you could be playing, that could easily be the hardest thing. But for me, the hardest thing about the game, I think, was, playing versus and, getting above 6,100 for me. Or, getting past 61 to, 62. I could definitely do Super Expert if I tried. People, of course, just skip a lot of levels doing that to make it, simple. But versus, in my opinion, that was, the most difficult thing. One, mentally. Because, I don't know if there's anyone watching this who remembers my streams back then.
Oh, yeah.
Holy mother of God. I used to scream my head off playing that. Because I just could not deal with the people who would troll. The levels are really bad sometimes. But, honestly, I think Verse is the hardest part of the game. But you could very well make the argument saying Super Expert is the hardest part of Mario Maker 2. But again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Versus, especially, I've been stuck in S Plus for 3 years, and I don't ever see myself leaving the 5,000 area. It's something that it feels luck based, and it's just, and honestly, it's just frustrating for a lot of people. And yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the next question I had for you was, what are some of your thoughts about the communities that are in the game, in your opinion? Some communities such as, Team Shell, Team Precision, Team Jamp, all those fun communities and all that. What are your thoughts about some of them? You don't have to list all of them, but just a couple if you'd like.
I really, when I first started playing, I wasn't really into shell levels, but as I started playing more and more, a YouTuber and streamer, Dr. Jin, got me into playing shell levels. He told me that, I would struggle with it at first, but I'd get the hang of it and it'd be pretty fun. And I really started playing those, I'd say maybe in June 2021, May 2021, so it was somewhere around there. But I started getting into the community and playing levels, and I even joined the Team Shell Discord for a good while. And I really like Team Shell. The moderators in the community of Team Shell are terrible. I'll just flat out say that. I don't like them, and a lot of people don't either. But Team Shell as a whole, the community is great. I really like the people there. They strive to make levels really difficult and as cool as they can be. I like Salt makes some of the coolest levels I've ever seen. Good friend of mine, Beef21, has made some really dope shell levels in Team Shell. And yeah, I really like Team Shell. Another great community in the Mario Maker community, I would have to say, is definitely... Honestly, I'm going to get flamed for this, but I kind of like Leto Squad. I respect the people for that, just because I know how difficult Pixel Precision is. I played that for a good few months, I remember. I even tried to join, but it is really difficult, because their whole thing about don't pause, no pausing, frame perfect jumps.
Right.
I could you really see the difficulty in that just watching fellow streamer Elegy. And he would make them look so easy because he figures out all this tech in the game, and it's kind of incredible. And I kind of just someone wouldn't really like that, I get, because you could say as a waste of time, but in reality, I mean, all video games you could say are a waste of time. So
True.
it's no different than playing, like, say, a really hard juggle level.
Right.
It's still, a grind, and it still takes time, and I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the next question I had for you was, so Mario Maker 2 at the end of the day is still like a game that Nintendo loves when you play their games casually. So with that being said, in a casual sense, how do you feel about Mario Maker 2 in general?
See, that's where I kind of come into play, because when I first, started playing, I was the casual level maker. Because my dad got me the game when it came out, like he originally did with Mario Maker, the original. I would try to make levels that, I found difficult. Like, I would even add devs in them, dev blocks.
Right.
Kaizo blocks, because again, I mean, from a casual's point of view, they don't really see that, as annoying or a bad thing. They just see that, as trying to make a level difficult and such.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, from a casual's point of view, I think it's one of the best games ever made, because you can build your own game. You can build your own levels. And I mean, for someone like my dad, too, who's very much a casual as well, that's such a cool feeling for someone who's played the games ever since the arcade Mario Bros.
Right.
He can now make his own levels, make them the way he wants. And I mean, from a casual's point of view, like I said, I think it's one of the best games ever made, in a sense.
Yeah. I agree as well. Like, it's something that you can just, like, start up and just... Like, when you first start, you don't know how to, like, make levels, but as you grow, you'll like, figure it out. So, yeah, I 100% agree. Now, now on the opposite end of the spectrum, in a competitive sense, like, such things like, the leaderboards versus and all that fun stuff, how do you feel about Mario Maker 2 with the competitive side of the game?
Now that, again, is another great question. The competitive side of the game really, I feel like, comes from the Metal Grinder community. Which, I mean, there are a ton of people who, for an early part of the game, not so much now, grinded a lot. Like, one of the first Metal Grinders I ever met, and I did, was Mr. Neagle Jeagle.
Mm-hmm.
Dude has been working towards 10 golds for the longest time.
Oh, yeah.
He did never achieve it, but I mean, he hit 10 medals, and for a lot of people, I feel like that's one of the most impressive accomplishments in the game. I mean, he's put so much work towards it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think with the game, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can make the whole leaderboard system competitive. Like Super Expert, I mean, even though people have cheated to get on the leaderboard, I mean, the top of it is really impressive. I mean, I think players Celeste, with 20,000 clears it was on Super Expert for the longest time, got overtaken recently, which I find interesting, because, I mean, you think someone wouldn't necessarily put the work in for something like Super Expert because it is so miserable to play.
Right.
But, I mean, people do it, and I mean, same thing with Versus. People have cheated, of course, to, get on that leaderboard and, gets number one. But for the player like Ikura, which is, I feel like, one of the only legit 8Ks from Japan, and the first player to ever hit 8K, I remember that, and that was crazy. I mean, it's disappointing, to know that they cheated at first, technically, to get to 8K, but then no, that was weird, is originally they did cheat at the end, because they got to, like, 7,900, but then they cheated the rest of the way, but then, they went back down to 7,900,
and tried again.
Did it legitimately.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was really sick, because, they kind of proved everyone wrong, because everyone was really, of course, disappointed at first, because they did it, like, say someone else, but, I mean, they still did it legitimately. And to me, they're the true 1-1 8K in this game.
Exactly.
From Asia, that is. That I can at least confirm, because they seem like a very genuine person. I mean, they even admitted to them cheating, and then, they did it legitimately.
Right.
So, the Versus community, I have a little less respect for than, say, someone like the Super Expert community. But both communities, I feel like they're pretty competitive in that sense, as they both really try to, strive for the best. At least the players who, try to do it legitimately.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I knew Ikura was the first person to hit 8K. It was, I'm with you. It was crazy. But I had no idea that they had cheated their way. But that's really respectful that they dropped all the way down and just showed that they can get it legitimately. So that's definitely a great thing. Now, now that at the time of recording this video, we have approached 4 years of Mario Maker 2, which is just crazy to think how fast time flies. But how do you feel 4 years later? I mean, you said you started like really getting into the game in 2021, but today in 2023, how do you feel about the current state of Super Mario Maker 2?
Now, if you would have asked me this question when I was really playing the game, and I first did start that podcast with a few buddies of mine back in October 2021 was it? I would have said the state of the game was becoming pretty dead, and it is sad to say, but you can't really say the community is dead in a way because I mean there are still so many people putting out levels there. It's still probably one of the most purchased Switch games there is. And I mean, think about how many levels. I can't remember when this was, but I saw a tweet of someone pointing out how many levels there were in the game uploaded at one point. And it was like 26 million levels, which
I know.
I mean, that is a lot.
Yeah, that blows. Okay, sorry.
No, you can say it's fine.
That blows like Mario Maker 1 out of the water. And when Mario Maker 1 first came out, like I was like, wow, that is so many levels. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and it is crazy to think 26 million levels because, I mean, you got to remember that there are a lot of people who bought the game and didn't even make levels or didn't upload any. But, I mean, it is impressive to say that a game could have that many unique levels in it. And people, will still complain about the game like, oh, there aren't enough levels or this or that. But, I mean, in reality, I mean, you can still play Versus, even if the community is still... like it's been floating around dead, but I mean it still exists. I mean the endless modes aren't gonna ever go away.
Right.
You can keep doing those. And again, I mean the level building mechanic is what makes the game Mario Maker. It's in the name. And I mean, as a fellow Shell player, among the community when I used to play, that's one of the reasons why I kept playing was to make Shell levels because I enjoyed that so much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, alright, and the next question that I have for you is, so as we mentioned, you're a Super Mario Maker 2 streamer, you don't really stream Mario Maker 2 much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, when you did stream Mario Maker 2, how was it making content for the game, whether that was streaming or making just videos and all that fun stuff for it?
Oh, I mean, streaming it is what made me kept playing the game. I mean, the community is great. All the nice people I've met through the game is the very reason I kept playing. Because, I mean, you have all these great creators and, streamers and such who still, if I were to stream right now, would probably show up and, say what's up and maybe submit a level or that or two. And, I mean, from a streamer's point of view, that's what the game was to me. It was a way for me to, broadcast myself, my personality to others.
Right.
And, I loved seeing the personalities of others. And that's what kept me, streaming for a good while, was it. Of course, school was kind of got in the way of me streaming and such.
Right.
But honestly, the community and, streaming in general is what brought it together for me. And, if I'm going to stream this summer, it's going to be for the community,
right,
not necessarily the game.
Yeah, that's 100% fair. And I honestly, I'm sure, and you're definitely not alone because there are, it's definitely true that I've seen a lot more people play the game to, because of the great community. And that's awesome that the game can have that. Now, as we've talked about earlier, and there is... Wow, I can't speak. So medals in the game has always been one of the more challenging parts of the game, especially if you want to get multiple. In your opinion, would you say that getting medals is a challenge in Super Mario Maker 2?
I mean, it depends on whether or not you're good at a game. Especially, Mario Maker, because, medals and that. I wouldn't say I'm good at the game. I just, because I played it so much. Again, the more you play something, the better you're going to get at it. That's just how things work. And again, same thing with the experts and endlesses and stuff. I mean, all you have to do is just keep playing, and I mean, if you're on my skill level S, you just kind of skip and skip and skip. So, I mean, getting multiple medals, I don't think is much of a challenge. I just think it's, getting top 100 and then, going for all the medals, which is the real challenge, because you really have to grind everything.
Exactly.
And I mean, the amount of hours you have to put towards that. I mean, I don't know how many hours Bruh originally put into the game, but I mean, when he first got all 10 golds, I mean, he must have put in thousands probably within, the first year, easily. And I mean, from a grinding perspective, yeah, it's hard. But from a casual perspective, I mean, as long as you keep playing the game and I mean, you're enjoying it, I think getting multiple medals isn't that much of a challenge. But again, that is just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, the next question that I had for you was, what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Super Mario Maker 2?
They have not treated the community well.
No, they have
I
not.
mean, not at all. I mean, if you look at the, the making screen when you're going to choose a game mode, it looks like there was supposed to be a game mode next to 3D World.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know if that was the game developers getting lazy that quickly and stuff, but think about how many items there are in the Mario series. They could have absolutely put in another 3DS game and tried to do it like that. I mean, I get it would have been difficult, but I mean, it's not like this was a small game. Again,
Exactly.
I mean, this game did very well from a business standpoint, and I mean, I don't know if Nintendo just didn't, because again, I mean, they treated Mario Maker very well until, of course, the discontinuation of uploading levels.
Yeah, 2021, yeah.
But I think Nintendo definitely could have treated the community better. You could have definitely given it another game mode. I mean, if they were trying to keep more people playing the game, which I mean, I don't think they clearly were,
Right.
It would have added another game mode, because that would have. Think about having that 6th game mode. I mean, 3D World, it was okay. I mean, there was a lot of unique things you could do with it, but with a 6th game mode, they could have definitely added a lot of things. And anyways, yeah, I really don't think Nintendo treated the community very well with the game. Because, I mean, think about any other community. Finally, the Mario Brothers series is getting another game.
Yeah.
It will an actual, new 2D game and not just the new series. And
Yes.
that took how long? That's like, if you don't count new, that's the first 2D Mario since, Super Mario World. It's been
Land 2.
25 years? Something like that.
If we're not counting New Super Mario Brothers or Mario Run or Mario Maker, it's been nearly 2 decades. No, over 2 decades, because Mario Land 2 came out in 94.
Almost 3. That's just terrible.
Oh,
because,
that's
that's their most popular series.
Yeah.
But is what it is, though.
Right. Now, I am 100. You have no idea how much I share the same sentiment of the 6th game style, saying extra game styles, plural, implying that there's going to be another game style. Now, I always say, well, maybe SMB Super Mario Brothers 2 was going to be the last game style because aspects of it was brought into the final update, and because it rolled out when COVID hit, it was oh, okay, so maybe that was meant to be the game style. But at that point, wait it out, and just, because this version 2.0, I'm not saying that was the case, that's just pure speculation, but I feel like Mario Bros. 2 was very possible as the extra game style, because we had Mario Bros. 1, 3, and World, so I feel like having 2 would finish off it pretty good, but that's just speculation. And who knows, maybe there's been theories that Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be the 6th game theme. I would lose my mind if that was the case, but I don't know in that case, but I 100% agree.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that, because, it does make sense. It was right around COVID hit when, they posted the 2.0 update.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't think Super Mario Bros. 2 would have been very hard to implement into Mario Maker.
No, literally.
It would have definitely been an extra game style, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, welcome to Nintendo.
True. Yeah. So, in general, speaking of the updates,
In your opinion, how do you feel about the updates in general in Mario Maker 2, and just the updates in Mario Maker 2 in general?
See, this is where having my brain hurts, because again, I mean, I kind of got into the game when they finished updating it.
Right.
But I do remember, let's see, when the last update I can really remember is when they did that final Ninja, the Link one.
Yep.
Or I forget what it was called. It was like Link's crossbow training or
right.
something. It was something on the lines of like that.
Yeah.
And,
I know what you're talking about.
And I mean, it was a nice Ninja, that's for sure. I enjoyed that one.
Right.
As I know many others did too. But I feel like the game could have done way more, as I already previously stated. The game could have done a lot more with its updates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, the extra game style, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, if you're going to add a plural, then, I mean, there should at least be more than one.
Biggest pet peeve in the entire game for me. The biggest pet peeve that I have. But, yeah.
Yeah, and it's tough with the updates, because, I mean, again, they did add stuff. It's not like, they, created a game and then posted it, and then like they didn't add anything to it. But I mean, they could have. There's so much more opportunity there, and I think Nintendo they let that opportunity slide and chose to work on other things instead. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
That's true. I 100% agree with that. Like the Ninja speedruns, and it's like there was this weird because I remember when I started making videos on Mario Maker 2 in 2020, I then started to actively monitor every little thing in Mario Maker 2. And April 2021 hit. They said, okay, Ninja speedruns are done. After we're done with this one, the Bowser's Castle Last Dash, we're done with Ninjas. But then in November of 2021, they dropped the Link's, I forget the name, Link's Lightweight Long Shots, I don't remember what it was called. And that opened the door. That was like, oh, so we're going to start releasing Ninja speedruns for special events. And that's like, oh, cool. And we haven't gotten one since. So, yeah, I'm with you. Ninja speedruns is the perfect way for them to keep the community alive, but they didn't. And that's unfortunately the sad reality of it.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. Because, I mean, if you're going to say something's the last and then choose to add something else, and then, you kind of give your fan base speculation about more in the future, and then, boom, nope, that's it. That's all you get.
Right. And I was like, oh, maybe there will be one. We just gotta wait. But now that it's been a year and a half, I'm really doubtful of another Ninja coming. But who knows? Now, this next question I have for you is entirely your opinion. What is your favorite and least favorite part about Mario Maker 2 in general? From playing the game for maybe 2+ years, what would you say is your favorite and least favorite part about it?
Oh, favorite, again, I mean, I've already answered this.
Right.
It's absolutely the Shell community and Kaizo community in the game. That's the reason why I kept playing for so long. And it's the reason why I may even turn it on occasionally, is because I love to play Shell levels, try new things, try to make new things. It's always really fun to, create a new setup and say, hey, that looks kind of dope. Of course, then it may have jank and there's that. But I mean, to you, you have fun in the moment. You created something new. And even if someone else has done that before, that's the first time you've seen it. And that's always a great feeling as a Shell player such as me. And the worst community undoubtedly has to be the Versus community. The community is incredibly toxic. The community is incredibly annoying. The community literally will cheat to get on the leaderboards, which is just kind of embarrassing.
Right.
And I mean, I will call myself toxic when I was in that community. I was screaming all over the place. I was yelling at people. I was getting, way too into it. And I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be played, right? You think of it more as like a casual standpoint to enjoy the game.
Right.
If you're yelling and you're really disliking something, I broke, I think, at least 3 Pro controllers during that phase of mine, and it's really bad. If you're not enjoying the thing that you're playing, and you're just doing that to upset yourself, and it's clear you're clearly not enjoying yourself. You're clearly just making yourself miserable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when I was playing that, I was beyond miserable. Nowadays, I can log on to Versus, and I can play for fun, see if I can get my versus rating up.
Right.
I'm not going to get upset like that because, that I've passed from, barely teenage Eric, when we're all going through that phase of I'm so cool or something like that. And, versus just really isn't that. It's something made for, I think what they intended was to be more of a casual, fun thing. And what it really turned into for someone like me was just incredibly toxic. And I mean, it may not be that for some people, but I know that really competitive people take it that way. And they will really get upset when something doesn't go their way in the game. And I think as a human being, we already have enough stress as it is. And I mean, that was during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Like, that was just a poor decision. But nowadays, Versus is not that bad. But from a standpoint of when the game was really active, Versus is undoubtedly the worst community and the worst part of the game.
I 100% agree. I'm gonna actually follow up on what you said on the Versus thing. There are two words that describe something, in my opinion, that gets a game more competitive than it should be. Point systems. If you put when you have like your Versus rating with points, it no longer becomes it's interpreted as you want to get your points higher and higher and higher. So and I 100% agree. When you that's what stressed me out. Because I got S+ during the pandemic, and I kept doing, and it was hard because it's you win, you get points, fine. But if you lose points, and you're more likely to lose. So it just becomes insanely frustrating, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, it kind of turns into insanity because you kind of just keep repeating and redoing the same things over and over again, and then, yeah, it's not fun.
Right. Now, the final question that I had for you was, if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter in Mario Maker 2, what advice would you give to them?
Do not care about likes or boos. Do not care about your maker points. Make levels for your own sake. Try to have fun with the game, I really cared about likes and maker points back then. I was the type, again, when I was first playing the game in say 2021, when I was really getting into it, I made streams of where I wanted people to like my stuff. Why? I don't know. You start caring about, same thing with Versus, a point total. It doesn't affect you in the slightest. If someone has more maker points than you, ooh-hoo. It's not a big deal. If you're a new maker, don't care about the maker point system. Have fun with your levels. And if people like your levels and they're not doing well, it is what it is. Because, if people are enjoying them, that's what matters most to me. And if you're enjoying making them, that's also important. Because what's the whole point of making? I think it's to, create new things and do something that's never been done in Mario. And I mean, if you can enjoy yourself doing that, perfect. If you can't, and I mean, maybe it's not for you. But I'd keep going at it, and there's so many things you can try in the game. I was never really into puzzles, but hey, maybe you like puzzles. I don't, is what it is.
Right.
But the most important thing to me is just not caring about, say, likes, boos, the maker point system. Doesn't affect you in the slightest. It's just a number on a virtual screen. It's not that big a deal.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great view on it, and I agree with it. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just a game to play, for fun. And the consider, the little, maker points and likes and all that just bonuses. The main course is having fun with the game and enjoying yourself with it. So, I agree 100%. Well, yeah, those were all the questions that I had for you, Eric. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. If you haven't already, please be sure to check out Eric's YouTube channel. He streams Switch games and makes content around them, and you will really enjoy his content, and please do check him out. But yeah, thank you for watching this episode of EmanCast. The next episode is unsure at the moment, but I will keep you all posted when the date draws closer. Take care, guys, and have a good one. Hello, welcome to the 9th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSwim2. Joining me today is Danny Boy 12, a Mario Maker 2 content creator and YouTuber.
Hello.
So, yeah, welcome to the 9th episode. We're going to be, we're in for a really good one today. Excited to have Danny Boy 12 on today. So, yeah. So, Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm honored to be on EmanCast.
That's good. I'm glad.
It's a very huge, very big deal for me.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. Thanks, man. I'm so excited to have you on. It's going to be a great episode. All right. So, the first question that I had for you was, what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? Like, what was your primary motivation for wanting to start to play the game?
Well, when the game first came out, I didn't have a Nintendo Switch yet, and I just heard about the game, and I really wanted it for like 2 years, and then in 2021, I finally saved up enough money, and I got the game for the first time, and just started making levels and posting like the worst stuff imaginable to the servers, hoping to get a few likes. It slowly evolved into me making better and better levels, and to where we are today, where my levels are decent.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. When I started playing Mario Maker 2, I just didn't know what I was doing. And then, as you grow and continue to do it, you'll eventually like get to a point where you're like, oh, this is what counts as a good level, and this is what doesn't. Everyone starts somewhere.
I also learned how to do like decoration and stuff, so that way my levels look good too, so they are more likely to get more likes.
Yeah, that's
not just people booing them due to them just being bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. The second question that I had for you was, in your opinion, what is the easiest and hardest part about Mario Maker 2? In your opinion, in your eyes.
Well, here's the thing. As someone who doesn't really like play the game as like a competitive thing very often, my opinion won't really be the best, but I think the easiest thing is actually I'm going to start with the hardest thing because that'll be easier to do.
That's fair.
I think the hardest thing is probably like, for me, super expert, just because I'm bad at actually like playing the game in general, or versus.
Oh yeah.
Because both of those require a lot of skill to do. Even if super expert, all you need to do is just skip over and over again until you get an easy level.
Right.
But I'm still bad at the game, so I only got like a score of 4 on it. But the easiest thing is probably story mode, actually.
Oh yeah.
But like if we're including something like in game, and I mean story mode's in game, but an actual like part of the game, like in the main thing, I'd consider like easy endless probably.
Yeah.
Because I might be confusing the way I was explaining how I don't really consider story mode as a main part of the game, just like a little side thing that you can do if you want to.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. But yeah, I agree with you. Endless Super Expert, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Endless Super Expert, like the only reason I can like even get levels cleared is by skipping levels and then finding a level that somebody played but skipped it after dying. And it's like, it's hard, it's easier said than done, but yeah, I'm with
I get lucky every once in a while. I'll get like a 5-second level with like 3 spikes in it that someone somehow died to. That's like the best feeling ever. Right after you beat it, you feel amazing.
Exactly. You're like, oh, I just beat a super hard Mario Maker 2 level. It's I totally get it.
Yeah, I jumped over those 3 spikes and I feel like a champion.
Dude, that's me all the time. It's awesome. It's like one of the best feelings. But yeah. Now the next question I had for you in the center of Mario Maker 2, there are a bunch of communities in the game. So, to your knowledge, what are your thoughts about some of those communities in the game?
Alright, so I am not, like, a part of any of these communities. I've never been a part of any of the communities. The thing that I've done the most in them is the shell, Team Shell. Yeah. I've uploaded a few shell levels, but not, like, with the hashtag Team Shell, just, like, out of fun.
Right.
But I've heard of the Lido Squad, however you do it, where it's, like, precision and stuff. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about any of the communities or done much with any of the communities, so I can't really say myself. But I did watch the interview with Eric. So I heard about like the different ones. So yeah. That's all I can really say. I don't really have any knowledge on them. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair. It's understandable. Now, the next question that I had for you was, in a casual, so you stated that you don't really play Mario Maker 2 competitively as much. Yeah, but in a casual or a competitive sense, how do you feel about the game?
Like in general, like just like a game as a whole, as a casual playing experience.
Yeah.
All right. So as someone who got it for a casual playing experience, I've always wanted the idea of making Mario levels was so cool to me, and it was just something I wanted to do for so long. So originally, I really enjoyed Mario Maker 1 when I had it.
Right.
And I played it for hours. So when Super Mario Maker 2 came out and I got that, and there was so many more options, I really latched onto it, and I had days where I played it for 11 hours with no stop because of how addicting and fun it was just to make your own levels and upload them, see how many likes it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this might sound kind of, I don't know, narcissistic or whatever. I don't know the right word, but the funnest part of the game for me was when my levels were doing well. The peak of my making career, when my levels were getting 300 likes each.
Oh yeah, and, that's great.
Every time no matter what I did, they would always I posted the worst. One time I posted this horrible kind of refreshing level called unrefreshing special, where it was the opposite of a refreshing level. One of my worst levels ever, but it somehow has to this day 300 likes just sitting there on my profile. And you could tell that was the peak of my career because of the fact that, a bad level like that got 300 likes. So, back to the topic of, is the game good for casual playing? I say yes, because as a casual player, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I still do. I just don't play it as often nowadays.
Right. I mean, you might think it's a bad level. So you said that refreshing level was it was making fun of refreshing levels.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you talking about? That's a bad level. That is the best level you could ever make, dude. Those refreshing levels, man, they get on my nerves. Any level that makes fun of them deserves to be in the same spot as the refreshing levels.
Well, my level didn't do quite as well as the most refreshing levels. I find it really aggravating that people who spend 25 minutes on a really bad level just with sparkling lights everywhere.
Exactly.
It's like those YouTube, the kids creators for YouTube that just spam a ton of sound effects and bright lights to keep the people on, and the kids are whoa, flashing lights, and they stay on and give the people likes and stuff just because of that.
I know. It's crazy.
It's like that on Mario Maker 2. They keep the 5-year-olds entertained with all the flashing lights and stuff, and it's just, I don't know what bothers me. They should have Subway Surfers on the bottom to really drive in it.
They really should, honestly. But
they should, those you can program in the games and stuff, do mods and stuff. They should have every refreshing level. There's just Subway Surfers gameplay on the bottom. That would actually make them enjoyable.
That gives Shorts creators a brand new game to experiment with. Dude, that is such a good idea.
If there's Mario Maker creators who what they call them, showcase levels.
Uh-huh.
And to make a YouTube short of it, they wouldn't even have to edit it with Subway Surfers on the bottom, because the raw footage just already has Subway Surfers on the bottom of it. If there's a Switch thing where you can record a 30-second video, I would just record a 30-second video of just a refreshing level of Subway Surfers on the bottom, export it to my phone, do it in iMovie or something, export it out, and just post it to YouTube Shorts. It's the easiest thing ever, and it'll probably get 1,000 views.
Bro, definitely.
On a competitive side of it, I can't really say that much because I don't play it competitively, because I'm not a competitive player. The only time when I did do it competitively is when I did it for a span of 2 weeks to grind versus. I ended up getting to S rank and then gave up because it was getting too hard. I didn't want to lose S rank and then go back up like I did before with A rank.
Right.
So, it was fun, but also really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be saying this because this was a while ago, but I got so into it that one time, when I lost my A rank, I cried, no joke, just because of how emotionally competitive I was into the game.
Oh yeah, Versus does that.
I mean, I cried multiple times when I was doing Versus, that for a big Versus grind, just because of the fact I was so emotionally into it. Yeah. And I hated the fact of losing any progress at all.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd say don't get too competitive into Mario Maker, especially not versus, because it'll. I heard. I know I keep referencing. Eric. I'll call him Eric because that's easier. But when I watched his interview, he was also talking about how his days of playing versus and stuff were dark times, quote unquote.
Right.
It's hard on you grinding, so that's why I'm not going any further than S rank. It looks cool on your profile, and you get a cool suit for it. So I'm just gonna end it off there.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not going any further with competitive, but if you're into that sort of stuff and you really like pushing yourself and stuff, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would agree. I'd agree 100% on the multiplayer versus stuff. Like it's the same thing. Like I was talking with Eric about. I said that it was like the competitive like point system. There's something about the brain that like wants more. They want more of this point rank to go up. So like when it goes down, it gets frustrating. So the next question that I had for you was, how do you feel? So Mario Maker 2 has been out for over 4 years. So how do you feel about the current state of Mario Maker 2?
Well, kind of dead, I'm going to be honest. I've noticed, like, this could just be my fault, but my levels have not been doing good at all lately. And I've also noticed other people's levels not doing good at all lately.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, when how sometimes there's this one level that just randomly blows up, like, Wii Sports or Shell one, that play as a Shell one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those levels that randomly blow up and stuff. I've noticed, like the ones that used to randomly blow up, they have like almost 1 million likes. Like I forget, Celestial Sprint Speedrun. That's at almost 1 million likes. And at that time, since it was new, the game was new, a ton of new players who were excited to play the game were trying to get their hands on any cool level that they could, which made the levels get more likes.
Right.
But nowadays, now that there's a lot less players, the levels that do quote unquote blow up rarely get 100,000 likes, which I mean that is a lot, but compared to the beginning of the game's history, it's a lot less. So I feel like the game is slowly dying, but it does still have a pretty active community, I'd say. Not like big community, but the people who are still there are dedicated to playing the game.
Yeah.
So that's why people like, I don't know, the Super Mario Maker 2 YouTubers aren't completely broke. They still, doing their content because they still have a community that wants to watch them.
Yeah. Mario Maker 2 still has a very active fan base, and I agree. Like, there's still a lot of people who watch, like, streams on it or videos on it. Like, there's, like, there's not going to be a world. Like, Mario Maker 1 is still being played, even though they shut down the servers for uploading levels. It's still getting played. And, yeah.
I logged on to my Mario Maker 1 account randomly, and one of my levels has like 2 likes now, even though like one of my old levels on Mario Maker 1 has 2 likes after the servers were shut down. Like, people are still playing it. And
people are still playing it. Yeah.
I was like, the reason why I got good at Super Mario Maker 2 making fast, sorry, this is off topic.
No, you're good.
But the reason that I got so good at Mario Maker, I'm so good, that's a little narcissistic of me to say or something, but
fine. The
reason I got decent at making levels in Mario Maker 2 so quickly is because of the fact that I had practice in Mario Maker 1. And, the Mario Maker 1 was just, if I was horrible at the beginning of my Mario Maker 2 career, then my Mario Maker 1 career was absolutely horrific. It was not good. I got 50 likes at max. And, you know how they did, I don't know if you played Mario Maker 1, but you know how they did those little medal systems?
Oh, yeah, the medal system in Mario Maker 1 was
medal, and 100 you get another medal?
Yeah.
I wanted that other medal so bad so I could upload more levels. I had to wait, like, 3 weeks to get one more like to get to that 50 like. I was at 49 for like 3 weeks. I was sitting there checking every day, hoping and praying that I would have 50 likes.
Right.
But then when I got 50 likes, finally, servers shut down like a week later.
Oh.
So,
that's
poor me.
I understand. Like, the medal system in Mario Maker 1 was crazy difficult. Like, it was really jank, and I got a bronze medal in Super Expert, but that I don't even think that was in Mario Maker 1. So, like, they're definitely making it a lot easier for players to get it. But
I like how they do the medal system better now.
Right.
I only have one medal, but still, it's
better than none.
Now. But
Yeah.
so anyway, you can move on to the next question.
All right, no, you're good. Now, Danny Boy is a content creator on YouTube who makes Mario Maker 1 shorts and videos. So, in your opinion, how is it making content for the game, whether that is videos or YouTube shorts?
All right, well, the way I make my YouTube shorts, I mean, I'm not really going to post YouTube shorts anymore. It's like, now that I've done a voice reveal on my channel, I'm going to start doing, like, actual videos and not just little YouTube shorts with, video gameplay I've been doing. But so far, it's been pretty fun, I'd say. Even with no, like, commentary or anything I've been doing. Just, like, posting the videos, seeing how they do, it's fun, making the videos. Especially, personally, I like the Super Mario Maker 2 community. Yeah. Even though I feel like a lot of the people in it, like, half of it are interesting characters, to say the least. But, it's still a fun community, and everyone's pretty supportive, which means, when you do post stuff, you're almost always going to get, like, a fun, cool reaction, and it's been really fun growing my channel, and hopefully I'll grow it a lot more in the future with my new type of videos I'm going to be doing. Because right now my channel's pretty dead, so I'm going to try and revive it a little bit.
Now, the next question that I had for you was, how would you say that the Mario Maker 2 algorithm is really played out in general? We kind of talked about this a little bit with, like, medals and that, but now how would you say it really is played out?
To be honest, that great. The way I'm surprised, like, no joke, I'm sitting there, like, thinking, how are people going to find a level after it's been for, like, 2 weeks? Like, if you have a level that's 2 weeks and, like, has 3 lives or something, how is anyone else going to find it? Because of the fact, there's hot courses or whatever, but I personally don't go on there at all. I don't really think anyone does.
Right.
The only thing people really check out is new courses to grind and, popular courses to find the cool levels. The only thing you can really do to really make sure your levels get likes is to have a ton of people who follow you or, like, friends that want to play your levels.
Right.
But otherwise, I'm confused on how levels even get any plays after they've been uploaded for, like, 2 weeks. Because, YouTube, there's recommended. I think they should add a recommended levels section or something. So that way levels can not be completely dead like most of mine are and continue to get likes afterwards. And maybe sometimes they could just randomly boost up and likes and stuff like the ones on YouTube do. I don't know. I feel like that just make it way more enjoyable in general.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But
anyway, speaking of trending, say that in the comments down below if you're a true E-Man fan.
Yeah, say that. You say that. I totally
say say the word trending down, just randomly.
Yeah, trending. Just if you're watching, please type trending. Thank you. You didn't hear it from me. You heard it from Danny Boy. He's our special guest. You gotta listen to what he says.
With 11 exclamation points afterwards, and then before that, don't forget, put like 1 period before it, and then hear me out. After the N, between the N and D, put like what's that? The little line thing? I don't know what it's called. That little line thing that you put in between different words when it's the same
hyphen
thing. There we go. That way we know you're a true E-Man fan.
Now, the next question I have for you was, what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Mario Maker 2, and what are your thoughts about the lack of updates after the final major update?
Bad and not enough. It's obvious Nintendo doesn't care about the game very much.
True.
Because they stopped making updates after barely any. Like this game, it was at its like almost peak. It had like a ton of players, The updates were keeping, like, bringing new people in. But, they stopped randomly and pretty much killed the game right there. They've sealed the game's fate, right? They stopped at uploading, or, whatever it's called, updating.
Right.
So, like, I feel like they should be, even if it's like little small updates, like one character here or there to add in the editor or something.
Oh, absolutely.
They should continue just small updates so that people stay updated. It's like stay waiting and be like, what's the next big thing they're going to add and how am I going to make levels with it?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. And what was the second version of that question? I don't know what you said.
What are your thoughts about the lack of updates in Mario Maker 2?
I kind of already touched on that.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I honestly don't like it. I would be still playing a lot. I would be playing a lot more to this day if they still had like these little updates that you can make levels with.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, one of the reasons I really basically stopped making levels, I do occasionally, but not as often, is because of the fact I'm burnt out. I don't really have anything new to do with the levels.
Right.
So, making them isn't a fun experience anymore like it used to be. But if they every once in a while added like a new character, like, I don't know, Charging Shock or something.
Ooh, that'd be
like
good.
That's what I wanted them to add, Charging Shock or something.
Yeah.
It'd make people talk about it. Like, did you see the new Mario Maker update? Yeah, we should go make a level or something.
Oh, yeah.
And people will want to play levels with Charging Shock in it, etc. And it'll make the game just more thriving.
Even just adding one thing, exactly right. Even adding just one thing will literally drive the traffic up in the game.
Mm-hmm. But the fact is, a dead game. No more. You know what I mean.
Right.
No more updates. The dead game is, and Nintendo killed it. They did. They murdered it brutally by no more updates. Also, I'm not. Am I allowed to say that? It's a family channel.
You're
family-friendly content all around.
Always.
Always, okay. Yep.
But
so Yeah, it's just Nintendo could easily just make it. If Nintendo was actually cared about this game, the game would still be thriving to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still thriving, just not as well.
Right. I agree. Now, the next question I had for you was, what is your favorite and least favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2 in your eyes?
I'm sorry, I was going to say story mode is least favorite, but I don't like it. It's the neutral. I don't like it. I don't hate it.
Right.
Personally, I don't play it, so it's kind of just, it's one of those things where you never think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do go upon it, you're like, oh, that's cool, and then just move on.
It exists.
But it exists, and I acknowledge it, but I will not be using it anytime soon.
Yeah.
For me, the best part of it is, making courses. That's the only reason I bought the game, is to, make courses, and, the only main reason I'm still playing is because of the community.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, off topic again. But,
you're good.
The community and the level making, best part of the game to me. Like, those combined is the reason I played 11 hours a day for a span of a few weeks. But the worst part, refreshing levels.
Oh, yeah. That's fair, 100%.
No, it's not actually. I'm not like big hatred for the game. There's nothing I really hate about the game.
Right.
It's just there are a few things that, they could improve. Like, lack of updates.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But, yes.
Yeah. Now, the final question that I had for you, Danny, was if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter in Mario Maker 2, what would you give, whether that's making or creating levels?
Alright, well, one thing that I would say to you is, there are two kinds of level creators in Mario Maker. There are the people who just want to have fun and make levels, like, for themselves. Mm-hmm. And post it to maybe see if people like them, or the people like me who, want to drive their likes up, get more likes, stuff, and have successful levels. Mm-hmm. If you decide what you want to be and stick to it, or, if you want, in the middle, if you really want to start getting levels, you can learn how to make them better and stuff. But the main thing I'm saying is, don't really stress about likes unless you want to stress about likes. Because in the end, it's just a game. You don't really have to worry about stuff like that. Yeah. I originally wanted to play it for fun, and then,
you start making content.
It did go into, an unhealthy thing for a while. I don't know. It's hard to explain. If you get too into the making, making popular levels and stuff, and you do, get addicted to it, when a level doesn't do well, it hurts. For me, whenever a level didn't do well that I really cared about, especially lately, it really hurts. And if you don't have the mindset that you need every level to get over 100 likes like I do, you'll have fun with the game, more fun with the game. So I'd recommend just, don't have a mindset where every level needs to get over 100 likes or have a certain like goal. Just make it for fun, post it, for people to enjoy, and not just to grind the algorithm and get the most likes possible. So that's my advice for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, I do believe that, just, having fun with the game is, what it's all about. So I 100% agree. Well, those were all the questions that I had for you. So thank you so much for joining me on the 9th episode of EmanCast, Danny.
Of course, it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. If you guys haven't already, please go check out Danny Boy's channel.
Yay.
That's gonna be in the link in the description. He makes amazing Mario Maker 2 content. He makes amazing content in general. You won't regret checking it out. So yeah, thank you for watching this episode of EmanCast, and I will see you all when I see you, because there is currently no schedule for the next episode of EmanCast. So yeah, have a good one, guys, and take care.
Please save my dead channel. Bye-bye.
Hello, and welcome to the 10th episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanCast2. Before we start this episode, I'm going to do a little bit of a different intro. Today we are going to be interviewing Dremice. Now, I am making this little intro to say a quick note. This episode was recorded back in June of this year, and you're probably going to notice throughout the episode I'm going to be saying Daniel or Daniel Wee. This is because prior to Dremice, he was originally known as Daniel Wee, but now he's known as Dremice, so I wanted to make that little, just this little note in the video before we get into the podcast episode. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the 10th episode of EmanCast, and stick around for the end of the video, because I'm going to go over an announcement for the future of this channel going forward. The first question I have for you, Daniel, is how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine as usual, playing SMM2, doing hobbies, and, as usual, I always make things consistent for myself, and, as usual, being a positive person at all times.
Yeah. That's good. But yeah, I'm also doing good myself as well, so yeah. Alright, so the first question I have for you, Daniel, is what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? What truly got you the motivation to just play the game?
Well, the motivation was way back a year ago, when I was grinding a bunch of Mario games, and often completing them. For example, I would complete Mario Odyssey, and I would grind the whole entire game, the whole heck out of it, and then move on to a different Mario game, because it's what brings me the motivation of playing Mario game, but also to try and play some other games as well, which also makes it pretty enjoyable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Back then I played previous Mario games on the PC before I even got my hands on the Switch, so yeah.
Yeah.
Also the times like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. I mean, I also got my start from just hearing about it. I mean, I got the game day one, but I saw a lot of Mario Maker 1 players, and it ultimately was okay, maybe I should try Mario Maker 2. So, yeah. So
I just grind.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
I just like to grind video games in general, and sometimes it just becomes very entertaining. For others, sometimes it can get pretty boring, but in general, I still like grinding games, and that's what I'm doing to this day, and also having fun with it. So Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, okay. The second question I had for you was, in your opinion, what is the easiest and hardest part about Super Mario Maker 2?
Well, the easiest part is just, when I get to them, when I usually like to first clear and, do a lot of easy endless levels. And apparently, I actually hold a lot of first clears in Mario Maker, and, almost over 20,000. And it's insane, because it's now I'm right around the top 10 of first clearing, and also, I do easy endless, and I'm still doing easy endless at the moment. So it's what's easy in Mario Maker, what I do in Mario Maker for myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in your opinion, what is also the hardest part about it?
Well, the hardest part about it is when I get to around expert endless or super expert, and apparently I'm still training how to play expert endless like Neagle, so that probably one day I might get a lot of expert endless clears and be at the and maybe probably be somewhere around, where an eagle might be, but I doubt it. So I'm just still trying to practice more on it, and and obviously I'm not, I'm still trying to get myself ready for it. So
Yeah. Okay. So as you may know, there are a bunch of communities in Super Mario Maker 2, whether that be the Versus community, the Team Shell community, Team Jam community, all of them. So what are your thoughts about some of the communities that exist in the game? What are your general stance on them? And obviously there's a billion, so you could, if you want to talk about a couple, you could go right ahead.
All right. Okay, so most of the Mario Maker communities are amazing, which I will say in general, because, some of the Mario Maker communities I see on Discord are usually the communities I would go to, and, it just fills in a lot of information about how the game is and how it is, but, while, I also enjoy having to meet new people around the Mario Maker community generally makes me happy. It feels like as if I had a new friend already, and I'm in most communities, but not all the communities yet.
Yeah.
For example, Team Shell. I'm not a Kaizo player much, but I do play Kaizo light levels, which fit almost to Kaizo levels itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, now the next thing I want to ask you is, in a casual sense, how do you feel about Super Mario Maker 2? Just a typical game that you have in your collection and you just want to sit down and play and just do all that. In a casual sense, how would you feel about it?
Well, I would feel like it's a good game to play, it just all I'm thinking is it just makes you feel motivated, to be honest, and most players just choose to be motivated to the game, while others just choose to, not be motivated and just build levels to their fullest extent of how they like to make it. And, because Mario Maker 2 is not, all about grinding and, going through this, but it's also, about how you make levels and all of that, so,
On the other end of the spectrum, in a competitive sense, all the competitive aspects of Mario Maker 2, how do you feel personally about it?
Well, competitive aspects are, you're probably talking about the Versus community.
Yep.
Versus community, then, to be honest, I've seen a lot of Versus players, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And, most of them are great, but some of them can kind of be a little toxic, and, but it's also home to some good Versus players, like Riley, or, or Neagle, or, some Versus players I know, I won't name, all of them, but, in general.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100% with you on that, and, yeah, I totally agree. Now, the second question, so, right now, the state of Mario Maker 2 is currently debated, how it's really held up. It's been a game out on the 28th this month. It's going to be 4 years old. But in your opinion, right now in 2023, how is the current state, in your opinion, for Super Mario Maker 2?
Okay, so the current state, it's just as normal as always. I know I get the game is it kind of feels like it might be coming to an end, but on the other side, it might still be ongoing. New people join Mario Maker and, come to play, make levels, have fun with others in Versus, and, I often see some, when I usually first clear, I usually see a lot of some new people making new levels, and I often go and first clear them, show appreciation, and, and often I would like them, I would often like new levels to show people that I'm appreciating their levels no matter what, and, but, the current state, some people might think that, the game might be dying, while others might think the game might not be dying because they just still enjoy the game, and they still enjoy playing it. And even though it's just kind of makes sense why it had to sell over like 7 million copies of the game. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, as you guys may know, Daniel Wee is a content creator, and he makes videos as well as streams on YouTube. So, with your experience of making videos and streaming Mario Maker 2, how is it making content for that game in general?
Well, you see, back then when I started my YouTube channel, I was originally making Mario Maker videos, and then I intended to move on and become a streamer. Like, I got that idea like from a few Mario Maker streamers, and I decided to stream the game myself and do some different challenges with it, which I am currently focusing on at the moment. Like, just, it's like a lot more people want to see it, and, a lot more people want to, get to experience it, which I would want to do it. It's possibly like, the same thing that might be happening with Neagle, even though I feel like Eagle isn't streaming that much, I always wait for an Eagle stream. It always makes me happy when I see one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Yeah. So, another topic of discussion in the Mario Maker community is the Mario Maker 2 algorithm. Whether that's getting your levels played or getting on a leaderboard, it's always been a big, hey, is this really fair or not? But since you've grinded medals before and you've tried to get, like you said, first clears and all that fun stuff, would you say that the Mario Maker 2 algorithm is played out good or bad, in your opinion?
Now, this is something I actually talked to one of my Mario Maker 2 friends, like Mark97, for instance. Like, he said that the algorithm usually factors certain types of levels. Like, let's say, for example, like, if a level does really well in popular, it'll stay much longer in the popular tab. Like, for, like, a few days, like, for instance, like, 3 to 5 days, and then after that it would decline, a little bit decline, and then it would probably, like, get back down, but if the level does still continue to get likes, it might get back up on the popular tab.
Yeah.
And more people might continue to play the level as it intended to be. Like, that's usually what happens to, like, my friend Marky97, who made, like, platforming levels, and some of his levels are, like, doing well, but sometimes they just go down the popular tab and they just end up feeling like as if they're not getting that much recognition. And then and then the likes would come back, and it would start to get a little bit more recognition. That's probably how the popular courses work,
Yeah. I agree, because, like, the thing about the Mario Maker 2, like, leaderboards, popularity, and all that is, like, it just depends on, like, the type of levels. Like, it feels like that if, like, you see music levels and refreshing levels a lot on the Mario Maker 2, like, popular courses era, and it's very consistent. So, like, if you do, like, a specific thing, it's more likely to get on there. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, and yeah.
Yeah. It's how my levels actually were able to get on the popular tab pretty quickly. And it happened like a year ago when my courses started being very popular. Like, for instance, Spikeball Gimmick Land, like, got to the popular course. It got over like 400 to like 500 likes. It went down the leaderboard. And then like around the start of 2022, I woke up, I saw my level got around to the top first of the popular course leaderboard. It stood there for like an entire week.
Oh, really?
It grinded, like, around a lot of likes. It grinded, like, so many likes. It got around an average of 3,000 likes in a row.
Yeah. Nice. It's pretty good. But
Yeah.
I've been playing Mario Maker 2 for years, and I still have yet to try to get my levels on the leaderboards, but the problem is like, I learned this the hard way, is that, like, grinding out and putting out as many, like, levels as possible it doesn't really work in that sense, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, but because back then, like, I was trying to be more recognized in the Mario Maker community. I was like trying to, be a part of the Mario Maker 2 community. I felt like I was like left out, and I decided to, be more recognizable to many people in the Mario Maker 2 community, like, you and everyone else. Yeah. And yeah, I was able to do that. I was like, yay, I was able to do it because my level somehow got successful. No way.
Yeah.
It was obviously because, back then I was caring about popularity and I wasn't caring about... Like, I started caring about popularity and I didn't care about my friends. And then up to that point, up to the point where I did get recognized, then I started caring for my friends. Yeah. My followers who joined with me.
Right. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. Now since we've kind of talked about, like, the algorithm and that, would you say that getting medals in the game is also a challenge, in your opinion?
Well, to be honest, I wanted to collect medals at the point when I first got my first weekly medal. It was Silver Weekly. I was like blown away when I actually got my first medal back then, and I was like thinking, oh, what if I actually got more medals? What if I got that medal, and then I got that, and then I started grinding for those medals. Like, that's why I started grinding first clears and world records and clears, and
Mm-hmm.
I hold pretty high stats, actually. I hold pretty high stats in Mario Maker 2, to be honest. Like the clears and, I'm saying for clears, world records and first clears. For easy endless, I'm still going for that. I'm, like, grinding easy endless clears currently at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I get, like, around 50,000, or that's my goal,
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the next question I had for you was, how active would you say the community of Super Mario Maker 2 is? This might sound similar to, like, a question, like, having, like, the communities and that, but, like, in general, like, activity of a game is all about, like, people who interact with it, and, just do all that, if you know what I mean. So in your opinion, what would you say, how would you say active would you say Mario Maker 2 truly is?
Well, I still see people playing the game. Like, I know I have, like, a friend list, and usually I would get notifications whenever someone would play Mario Maker. Like, I know people would still play the game, but, to me, what I feel like is, like, when Mario Maker 2 first came out back in, like, 2019, when the game first came out, and a lot of people would start playing the game because it would finally be hyped for a new Mario Maker game, and, a game like Mario Maker 2 would be the game that many people would want to try out, and they would actually get to make and people would actually get to make levels in Mario Maker 2, but, to be fair, as the time went on and some people started leaving the game, like, people like I know Ethan P. left the Mario Maker 2 community, for example. He left because, he wasn't interested in the game and he was probably doing something else, let's say, for example, and, and others, and a few others might have left the Mario Maker 2 community, but I won't name all of them. Just saying this again, so,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, most people still play the game. It's just some people have, gotten tired of the game and left the community and, probably went to play something else. And that's probably like some of my few followers have probably had,
Yeah. So, the next question I had for you was, Nintendo, is, obviously, like, they try, I mean, not their old games, but they love their new games, and, some games get better treatment than others. So, what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Super Mario Maker 2?
Well, my thinking of Mario Maker, like, Nintendo treating, Mario Maker 2, I'm gonna say is pretty decent. Well, not decent, like, more like, like when they actually were supporting the game back in around 2019, it only took them like 10 months to support the game with updates, like like the Master Sword update in December, and then around April when COVID hit, and some people were getting the updates still around that point, and then some people were realizing that the updates weren't coming in because of the COVID, and mostly because Nintendo stopped supporting the game.
Right.
And that will probably be one of the reasons why Nintendo's treatment to the game might be lacking more, obviously.
Yeah. And actually, that follows up kind of on my next question. How do you feel about the updates in Super Mario Maker 2? And since you kind of like gave your thoughts about the lack of updates, I won't ask the lack of update questions. But in your opinion, what are your thoughts about the updates in Mario Maker 2?
My thoughts about the updates, they're pretty good. You see, because I wasn't playing Mario Maker at that time, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I did hear about the updates. I was like thinking to myself, "Oh wow, nice updates." I mean, I was thinking that like they were gonna like update the game more, and I would finally get to play Mario Maker 2 at last, and have fun, and the items, like, they're pretty much something that Nintendo would want to add to Mario Maker 2 because people have been playing the game recently, and people want to try out something new, and they would actually get to use it in their levels.
Yeah. Right. I 100% get that. Because the updates were really, really good. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. But the fact is that they released the last update not even a year before the game came out, which I think was really wild. But, yeah. Now, the next question I have is, we've talked about... since you mentioned your stance on the versus community, we're going to skip the versus community question. But yeah, I'm sure it still stays the same. Like, you think for the most part it's decent, but like there are some toxic aspects to it, like kind of what you said before.
Yeah. Toxic aspects.
So then, in your opinion, what is your favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2? In your opinion?
Well, my favorite part about Mario Maker 2, it's that you can actually like make Mario Maker cool Mario levels in Mario Maker 2 and grind a lot in Mario Maker 2. Like, for reasons now, I might have to tell you this, but I'm recently lacking more with course creativity ever since I got like a lot of likes on my newest levels. I was thinking like I would eventually start making platforming levels, and then get to the point where I wouldn't feel so motivated in making levels as I used to before. But no, it's still what I liked to do back then. It's still what I like to do, and grind Mario Maker 2, because I feel like that's what you can do in Mario Maker 2, since Nintendo hasn't updated the game much, like I said earlier. So
yeah. But yeah, I 100% agree. Like, that is 100% a good thing about it. And then on the other side of the spectrum, what is your least favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2?
Well, my least favorite part is like, it's when you play, like, let's say, for instance, I play Expert and Super Expert, and I usually rush Expert and Super Expert. When I play other, like when I play Easy Endless, and I tend to play Expert Endless, and I kind of rush an Expert Endless, and I end up losing an Expert Endless, so that's why I've been playing Easy Endless. But also, what I don't like about the Mario Maker 2 community is that it can sometimes be toxic. Like, as I mentioned earlier, like, the community can be toxic because if someone did that and someone did this, and, it could be a debated argument, or, it could be something like that. Eventually, that happened in Mario Maker 2 community, and I've heard of these type of communities before. I'm not gonna, like, just spread the word around, because I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah. Yep, I 100% agree with
your stance on it. Yeah, I agree. Now, the final question I had for you with the Mario Maker 2 side of things is, if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter in Mario Maker 2, what would you give to them? Like, whether that's making levels or, like, just in general. Like, what would you give advice for?
What I would give advice is to always start level making with your heart to your desires and what you really enjoy making, and it doesn't have to be something about being popular all the time. And if you're just like feeling like left out, you could always talk to someone in the Mario Maker 2 community who would be willing to be with you. And like in the Mario Maker 2 community, there's like a bunch of streamers out there, and you can reach out to them. There's like many possible ways to reach out to Mario Maker 2 people out there in the community, and basically what I did. And, you know, I reached out to like so many people who would be, you know, generous and, you know, caring and, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And yes, you can actually, you know, like feel free to like explore Mario Maker and, you know, try out challenges, like try out something that makes it experiencing for you, like something that feels the best for you. And, you know, if you like, let's say for example you like versus. If you like versus, you can try out versus. If you like endless challenges or something like that, you can try it out. If you like you know, what makes you enjoy Mario Maker 2 more? That's what I would say.
Yeah. And that's going to do it for the 10th episode of EmanCast. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode. A big thank you to Dremice for coming out here to for this episode. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel. It'll be in the link in the description, so please go check it out. He makes amazing Mario Maker 2 content, and he streams a lot. So yeah, feel free to go check out his channel. Now, this is likely going to be the final EmanCast video of the year. Because I want to mainly focus on my main channel. So the podcast episode schedule will remain the same as it has been throughout the year. It's just going to be random episodes sprinkled whenever I can. But the podcast will still be here. As for the commentary, I'm not too sure about that yet, but I will guarantee that the podcast will still be around in 2024. But as of right now, this is going to be the final EmanCast episode of 2023 and the final EmanCast video of 2023. Thank you guys so much for almost 50 subscribers on this channel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to 2024 for this channel. So have a good one, guys. Take care, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys. Hello, and welcome to the final episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, EmanSMM2. Joining me today for our final episode is Blizzard, a well-known multiplayer versus player, endless grinder, streamer, and just a great guy in general.
Hi, everybody. I am Blizzard. I've been playing this game since 2020, and currently going for 10,000 in expert. I'm getting there. I'm alright, like 3,000 levels away. And I also have 7,000 in versus mode.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have Blizzard on to end off for this grand finale of EmanCast. So, yeah, we're going to just jump right into the questions. So, but first, Blizzard, how are you doing today, man?
Pretty good. I'm in a good mood. I'm well awake. I got stuff with me. And, you know, it's just a great day to do this. I'm hyped. I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
It's great to hear, man. I'm also really hyped for this, and yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So, the first question that I have for you, Blizzard, is what made you motivated to start playing Super Mario Maker 2? Like, did you have any driving motivation to try this game out, and just, did you have any motivation for it?
Yeah, actually. It all started, like, late 2019, a few months after the game came out. I started watching IPK or IIPK, and watching his like versus videos, compilations, and watching him live on Twitch really motivated me and interested me to get the game and try the mode out for myself.
Yeah.
You know, it was really fun watching him like be toxic, add the memes into his like videos, and it was such a blast. I just like, I gotta try this out for myself.
Yeah. I'm the same way too. Like, I mean, I got the game day one just because I was a fan of Mario Maker 1, but I had watched a bunch of creators, like, play Mario Maker 2, and that just, like, got me to keep playing it, because I stopped playing it for a short amount of time, because after I beat the story mode, so, yeah, I was also really inspired by other creators, so yeah. Now,
That's great.
yeah. So now the second question that I have for you today, Blizzard, is in your opinion, what is the easiest and the hardest part about Mario Maker 2? Like easiest being something like it's something that you can just do to have like a relax from a long stressful day, and hard like no, please stop, make it stop.
Okay, so this is gonna be a deep question here. I might spend a bit of time answering.
Yeah.
Easy Endless, it's a good way to relax after, like you want to play something that's not too difficult. You don't want to rage. Easy Endless and Normal Endless are kind of they're chill. They're easy, and it's just relaxing because you don't have to deal with like trying to farm lives. Skipping all the time. It's just pace, slow, and it's relaxing. One of the hardest things probably is versus mode if you take it competitively like I do. Getting to 6,000 points can be rage-inducing a little bit. It's frustrating. It's difficult. But once you reach like around 6,500, things just really snap into action, and it gets really frustrating. So that's one of the hardest things for me. Like, the time it took me to get from 6,500 to 7,000 was a year and a half. It was just a bunch of breaks, a bunch of rage, and I don't recommend going that high because I did break a few controllers, but. If you want to enjoy the game, just play versus for fun, not competitively. And endless is super fun too. Like expert, expert is my favorite mode because now that I've practiced and gotten a lot better, I find that easy and normal are just not super fun anymore. They're kind of just way too easy, and it's just kind of boring. And super expert is just, you have to skip so many levels if you want your run to be alive. But if you play no skips, then you could have fun, but I don't personally enjoy no skips. But to keep a super expert run alive, you have to skip constantly, over and over. I probably have around 20 to 30 skips per super expert level, and that's just not fun. So, expert is the perfect balanced difficulty where it's not too easy, it's not too hard, and you have the perfect levels in between. Kaizo lights, Shao Kaizo precision. It's a really fun mode to play in the game, and that's why I'm grinding for it so much.
Yeah, I think honestly with everything that you just said, I completely agree with. Like things like versus is all dependent on there's so many different factors to it that genuinely makes a difference on your enjoyment of it. And when you get a lot of stats, I think your stance on endless is basically mine too, where easy and normal, once you've when you kind of become skilled at expert, easy and normal just become mindlessly boring. And super expert is super expert. You do have to skip a lot, and yeah, I completely agree. Now, the next question that I had for you, Blizzard, is what are your thoughts? In Mario Maker 2, there are a bunch of different and unique communities. Obviously there's a lot of them, so you don't have to list all of them, but for the communities that what are your thoughts on some of them?
All right, so this is an interesting question. Sorry.
You're good.
It's a really interesting question because there's a few communities that I don't really have the best experience with. Mm-hmm. One of them I'll name is the Versus community. So I accidentally started drama between two content creators a few years ago, and everybody in the Versus community hated me for that. I gave the biggest sincere apologies, and over the course of years, they stopped hating me. But when I boosted in Versus to get the gold medal, which is highly frowned upon, they also started hating me again. So I don't have the best history with the Versus community, but everybody else, like Team Precision, Team Shell, they all seem to be cool with me. And, you know, I even joined the Team Precision and Team Shell Discord and got a bunch of points because I enjoy playing those kind of levels. And the communities that I'm friends with now, they're just a bunch of close friends that I like to talk and play the game with, share my experiences, and it's great because I'm glad I have a bunch of people who respect me for who I am and enjoy watching me play my game. And it's just, I have a lot of great friends, so I'm happy for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. I mean, yeah, when it comes to different things, and to see that, you know, you've got like you know, safe space in the game, and that's like for you to go to, like, I think that's really cool to have that option available for you. But yeah, all right. For the next, this question kind of goes along with a previous question. Now, in a casual and a competitive sense, how do you feel about Super Mario Maker 2? So casual as in you're just, you know, you're not really playing, there's nothing on your mind like medals or points or stats or anything like that. And then, of course, competitive is the complete opposite of, like, you want to get some things done. And in terms of casual and competitive, what are your thoughts on Super Mario Maker 2?
So I feel like I fall in the middle of that because, you know, I'm not too casual. Like, I do care if some things happen.
Yeah.
Like, if I lose my run, of course, I'm gonna care and not just start a new one. I'm gonna be pretty upset.
Right.
But I'm not to the point where, like, you know, I have to have gold medals. I have to have them. No, I don't really care about medals. I kind of just focus on expert and versus mainly. And I don't take it too seriously anymore as I used to. I kind of say I used to take it super seriously, but now I just I'm chill. I like playing expert. I stick to that and try not to flex about my achievements too much because, you know, that's how people just start frowning upon you because, you know, they don't want to hear it. But, you know, I'm chill. I like expert. I stick to that. And, you know, I'm almost at my goal of 10,000. So that's that.
Yeah, I agree. Having that being right in the middle, I feel like is a good balance. And yeah, I'm glad you think that way too. Now, the next question that I have for you is, now, Super Mario Maker 2 is in this weird limbo, where some people have said that, you know, nothing's really changed much with the game, it's remained the same. Others have said the game has completely declined, and, like, it's completely different. But I want to know your opinion on it. How do you feel about the current state of Super Mario Maker 2?
Yeah, so it's dependent on several factors. One being that Nintendo has not updated this game in over 40 years. Yep. So I kind of side with the people who say it hasn't really changed much. Update regarding, of course, like, on updates, it hasn't changed at all in 4 years. But there's many things about the community that's changed, like new players, new content creators, and, you know, level viewer streamers. It's changed a bit in that aspect, but in the aspect of updates, it hasn't changed at all. But you can still have fun by, like, you know, doing challenges like Nuzlocke or expert no skip or super expert no skips or easy blindfolded. There's so much things you can do in this game to make it fun. So it's really just how you use those ways to make it more enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're just doing the same thing over and over, you're gonna get drained eventually. But if you do new things in the game, new challenges, make your own challenges and stuff, you can have fun. So it's changed in that aspect, but in the aspect of updates, it hasn't really changed at all.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk more about the updates later in this episode, but I agree 100% because when it comes to how the updates are kind of essential, especially in a game like Mario Maker 2, where you kind of need them in order to keep the game afloat and you need to keep it alive. So yeah, I feel like that's that's completely valid. And yeah. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Blizzard is a Mario Maker 2 streamer. He plays, you usually play like expert and versus on your streams. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Blizzard does a lot of streams on Twitch. So in your opinion, from all of your years on streaming on Twitch, how do you think it is now in 2024 how is it making content for Super Mario Maker 2, whether that is making videos for it or streaming the game?
So I prefer to stream it because with videos, I have no idea what to record, because if I just did expert endless as videos as a whole, I don't personally think they would get much attention, because it's just gameplay and there's no commentary, no like anything in the background. But when I stream, I have like face cam, I have a bunch of stuff like text to speech, I have share videos, and I average like 10 or so viewers.
Nice.
It's pretty fun. The chat interactions are different because it's literally live and not just like a YouTube comment that anyone can leave at any time. I get live interactions with my chat. Some of the reactions and like the interactions are hilarious, and the video submissions don't even get me started. That's awesome. So I definitely prefer to stream the game over make videos, because streaming, I get so much more funny interactions with people, and that's what really motivates me to continue streaming the game.
Yeah. And that is a benefit of being live, where you can interact with those people at the same time. And yeah, I completely agree. Now for my next question, in your opinion, how would you say that the Super Mario Maker 2 algorithm is played out? Like the algorithm to get your levels played, like whether that be also, I guess, in Versus, to get Versus levels played, that algorithm, like there's so many different branches of the algorithm. How do you think that is that's played out?
So, it's interesting, It feels like it's random, but it's not completely random. For example, in Versus mode, if you have a level that everybody likes, it is going to be more likely to show up for other players.
Yeah.
But if you have a level with like lots of boos, Nintendo could just completely remove that level from the Versus algorithm entirely. And also, if you have a level that is tagged multiplayer Versus, it is also more likely to be selected to play in multiplayer Versus. This is not always a good thing, because I've had my fair share of not super well designed levels that are just awful for Versus, and they have the tag multiplayer Versus. I think part of this is due to some level creators abusing that tag to get more plays on their level, which is it's not good, because Versus mode, you need those good levels if you play competitively to climb and to have fun. But if you just get horrible levels all the time, you can't really climb that much, because, well, if you lose and you're unlucky, then you'll just drop and drop. It's not, you don't really climb. It's you need those good levels. For other algorithms like Endless, that's also interesting. Endless is not like Versus. Endless is completely random. So in like Expert, I would just get like one level out of millions selected. Most levels in Expert aren't really that good, but I've got a few like Shao Kaizo, Precision, Time Attacks, Light Kaizo, Team Jamp levels, and it's great when I get that, because it's so refreshing after like all the like not super great levels. It's nice to get a refresher on like Expert. It's nice to get a refresh of a good level after a few bad levels.
Yeah, I completely agree when it comes to that. The thing about the Versus algorithm is you're exactly right, and that's a point that I actually never even thought of. I noticed that a lot of people, when they have the multiplayer Versus tag, and there's a level clearly not designed for Versus, it would make more sense. It makes completely sense. It wow. It makes, it's not really fair that they do that just to get plays on their level. And for some reason, I've noticed this, that sometimes a play doesn't even register when you play in Versus, so it just feels like it's completely pointless. And even some 4-laners in Versus aren't the best in level design anyway. And that's why I've started to do this recently when I play Versus. If I notice a level that is not suitable for Versus and I see that it either has a multiplayer Versus tag or no tag at all, I always change it to single player, because I've uploaded a bunch of levels, and whenever you do single player, I've noticed it almost never gets put in the Versus queue, which I think is extremely helpful to have. So, yeah, and then Endless, you're right, is completely random, and yeah.
Before you go on to your next question, you can put this in the video, by the way.
Yeah.
I have something to say about Versus mode. I'm not sure if you knew this, actually.
Yeah.
So, if someone chooses the single player tag if someone chooses a single player tag on their level, it will not get into Versus. 100% it will not.
Awesome.
That is a thing that's known, that, but if a level has both multiplayer tag and single player tag takes the priority. So it won't be selected in Versus mode.
Yeah, and that's why I think, prior to version 3.0, when those tags were added, I feel like single-player tag is the best thing that could happen, because some people probably don't even intend for their levels to get into Versus, but it does, and it wonders why they're they're getting boos on their level because it's not suitable for Versus. So having that tag is a really good option, in my opinion, and that's why I think tags are so important in levels.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Now, the next question is kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about. So, Mario Maker 2's medal system is, it's definitely improved from Mario Maker 1, I can tell you that much. But in your opinion, you have medals in almost every category in SMM2. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, in your opinion, would you say that getting medals is a challenge in Super Mario Maker 2?
It depends what category you're going for.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where my skill set is so high, I could make a new alternate account and get a bronze super expert within an hour and a half. So that for me is really easy. But if you're starting off, super expert will be very challenging to get that bronze medal. But however, if you just make a bunch, 20 levels, and you get a bunch of people to like and play them, getting silver, gold, or even number 1 on the weekly leaderboard is so it's so unheard of. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
But Maker points all time, you can't just rely on free clear levels. You have to make decent levels. Endless is a lot of grinding. Easy and normal itself is not that fun to get. It's just a lot of grinding. So it's not, that itself doesn't really take much skill. It's more patience. Expert and super expert, and even Versus mode now, because you need to have 6,100 points in Versus mode to get the bronze medal.
Yeah.
Those categories are challenging, and it's meaningful when you get those medals, because you're okay, great, I worked hard for this. But if you get a medal weekly, you don't feel much excitement, because you're just begging people to play your levels, and then you're just getting number 1, and it's not really meaningful. But if you got number 1 in super expert or something, you're ahead of everybody else, millions of players. It's so meaningful to get a gold ribbon or just a medal in any category. But when you get it in weekly, you don't really get much of a feeling from it, because it's so easy to achieve weekly medal.
Yeah, and I think that's I feel like there was a point in Mario Maker 2's history where world records was the medal to get if you wanted to get number 1 weekly, but obviously that had been that was outdated, and now Maker Points weekly is easily the medal to get if you want to get number 1 weekly in something. But And that's currently the method I'm trying to do, and hopefully try to get medals in other categories, like, Endless Expert, maybe, possibly other Endless, I don't know, but, yeah. Now, another thing that has been tossed around in, the Mario Maker 2, land space is the community of Mario Maker 2. Some have said that the community is completely gone, and some people have said that the community is still active, it's just not the same as it once was. But in your opinion, how active would you say that the Super Mario Maker 2 community truly is?
Team Shell and Team Precision is their own little community. That's still very active to this day. But if you're talking about communities like the Versus community, that community is completely disbanded by now. It's gone. It'll never be the same as it once was. But Team Precision and Team Shell and Team Jam, they're still very active this day. And, it's great because you still have somewhat of an active community. But some communities like Versus, it's completely disbanded, gone, no one communicates with each other through that anymore. Versus mode itself has just changed so much. Nobody waits at the goal anymore like they used to. Everybody's toxic. It's not a super fun mode, but the community is still somewhat there. It's in the middle between gone and very active. It's still somewhat there. Twitch, there's a few streamers on Twitch like Aura who still streams Super Expert, and Versus to this very day. Panga does Expert, but it's not as hype, and it's definitely died down a lot since its release.
I definitely do think after a while, with how short-lived everything is, with, the updates and stuff like that, that definitely also took a toll on it, and, it definitely is different than what it was 5 years ago. So, yeah. And speaking of the updates, this is another topic of Mario Maker 2 that has also been tossed around, but what are your thoughts about Nintendo's treatment of Super Mario Maker 2, and what are your thoughts about the lack of updates after the final major update that happened in April of 2020?
So, this might be controversial, and this may perhaps upset a few people, but I'm just going to point this out. I feel like Mario Maker 2 for Nintendo was like a test game. Mario Maker 1 is just... people can argue Mario Maker 1 was a test, but the fact that Nintendo stopped updating Mario Maker 2 not even a year after its release, it's leading me to believe that Mario Maker 2 was kind of like a test game in a way, and they're working on something much more bigger and better.
Right.
That's why they haven't updated in 4 years. It was kind of like a test game to see how well, I guess, 3D World and Versus Mode and Endless would work or something. So I feel like Mario Maker 2 was a test. It's a test game for something much bigger to come.
Oh my gosh. I think that, with you saying that actually kind of makes a lot of sense. 3D World came onto the Switch 2 years later. They were likely just testing the waters and seeing how 3D World would feel on Switch, even though 3D World and SMM2 is completely different from 3D World, the game itself. And then Versus Mode, they added an online mode to 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and Mario Wonder. So, and you're right, it could be leading to something bigger, like a bigger Mario Maker game or something like that, or just a bigger Nintendo game in general. I think that's a really, that's actually a really interesting perspective, and I don't think I've ever heard that before. So, yeah, it's a really good one. But, yeah.
Hold on. Oh, hold on.
No worries.
Yeah. The fact that it was, not even a year. Every other game at least has, even, to this day, big games have, still updates even, a decade after their release.
Yeah.
But this game its final major update was not even
9
one
months.
full year.
It wasn't even 9
After
months
its
after the game
release.
came out. It was, well, actually, my math probably is, no, my math isn't mathing. It was, yeah, you're right, a little under a year, you're right. My bad.
10 months, almost 10 months.
Yeah. But
it just feels like a test, like, to something much bigger to come, and I hope that's the case instead of them just completely giving up on the Mario Maker series. I hope it's something much bigger to come instead of just them completely just giving up on Mario Maker.
yeah. See, like, that's the thing. I really don't think Nintendo is going to give up on Mario Maker, and the main reason I say that is because the original Mario Maker was a test. It was, okay, I wouldn't say I was a test game, but it was an anniversary game to help celebrate the 30th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. And the Wii U was not a successful console. And I'm sure they wanted to give that series another chance on the Switch. They did release it on the 3DS, but we don't talk about that. That game is not very good. But yeah, so I really hope it's not the end for the Mario Maker series, but yeah. Now, the next question that I have for you, Blizzard, is what is your favorite and least favorite part about Super Mario Maker 2? This is kind of like the easy and hard question, but in your opinion, what is something that you love to death about this game, and something you hate to death about this game in a way?
So, I love right now to this. It's changed a lot in my 4-year history with this game, but at this current moment, I love Endless Mode. Like Expert, just how they made Endless Mode. I love playing Expert Endless and moving on, getting more clears every day, getting closer to that 10,000. It's so satisfying, and me doing the whole thing myself. It's awesome. And one thing that I hate about this is I hate versus mode now. Unfortunately, because of the versus community dying down, versus mode has completely changed and not for the greater good. Nobody waits anymore. You rarely in North America you'll find top level players like 6,000 to 7,000 players. It's not super common, and you mostly match with like S ranks, S plus, and you know it's certainly not as interesting and exciting and fun as it once was. And now, because of me taking it so competitively, without those 6,000 and 7,000 players to wait at the goal, I lose like 9 or 10 points per game and gain like 4 or 5 back. And it's so heartbreaking because I need such a high win rate for that.
Right.
And it's just not fun anymore. So I've grown a hate for versus mode, unfortunately.
Yeah. And versus will do that, unfortunately. And especially if you climb higher and higher, it will certainly, like, it'll start to hurt. And yeah, I do agree. Now, the final question that I have for you, Blizzard, today this is an important one, is if you could give any advice to a new level creator, or any level creator for that matter, or new upcoming players of Mario Maker 2, just basically anyone who plays or makes in the game, what advice would you give them?
So, the best advice I can probably give you, I'm not the best at giving advice, but I will try my best. Practice. Do a lot of practice with ISO tricks, like, precision. Get better at the game before you do any of the high-end stuff like Endless, Expert, Versus. Practice time attacks. You gotta really practice the game. And for level creators, watch, see the designs of the top level makers and try and go with that, try and somewhat, not copy an entire level, but copy kind of the design and how it looks. So your level is more athletic and people will be more likely to play it than if you make such as a Timmy level.
Yeah.
Timmy levels, I just don't think people have any experience with what they're doing, and they just make some random random hot garbage, and those are not fun to play. They get like mostly booze. So
Yeah.
if you want to grow as a level creator, it'll be harder now than it was 5 years ago, but you can still relatively grow. You just got to make good platforming, and like Kaiza's, people really enjoy those. Or something creative like sports levels or like playable shell. I've seen those and they grow really well. So if you just practice making and also don't spend like a day making a level because you're just rushing through it. If you want to make a really good level, spend at least a couple days to a week making it, because it'll do so much better the more time you spend on it and the more effort you put into your level.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. When it comes to like making levels, if you're done with the level, like, and you've clear checked it and done all that, you shouldn't update it. Go back and do some like nice little, just put like decorations in your level. Try to make it look a bit nicer. Like make a thumbnail for it so it could perform better. Like you're absolutely correct that there's always something that, well, not always until it's eventually you believe it's good, but you're right. It shouldn't be done in a day. This is stuff that should take a couple days to a week. So, yeah, I completely agree. Well, with that about does it for all the questions that I have for you today, Blizzard. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode of EmanCast, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And yeah, if you guys haven't already, please go check out Blizzard's Twitch and YouTube. Both of those are going to be linked in the description. You won't regret checking it out. He streams really good Mario Maker gameplay. He posts really, he started to post more shorts on his YouTube. So go check it out right now. You won't regret it. And as I mentioned in the update video, this is the final episode of EmanCast. In a little bit, we will be rebranding this channel to something else. I already know what it's going to be, but I'm not going to reveal it. I'm going to give it a few days after this episode drops, and then we're going to make that change. What I forgot to mention in the update video was that the EmanCast All Episodes playlist is not going anywhere. That will stay there, so in case you want to relive it, you don't have to scroll through my channel to find all of the episodes through this channel to find all the episodes. So if you want to relive those memories, feel free to do so. And if you're here to stick around for what's next to come on this channel, then thank you. And if this is where your journey stops, then thank you so much for watching. And thank you for supporting EmanCast for these 2 years. So that's going to do it for this. Thank you all so much for watching, and take care.